Call me Luo. For over a decade, this realm of swords and sorcery has been my home. Yet I'm still convinced it's just a wildly immersive game that I can't log out of. My main grind is pulling every gorgeous woman across all races right now. Crouched behind a blood-stained boulder in a gloomy abyss, I watch the colossal black dragon queen. Alluvia sprawled out before me, massive and terrifying. She's easily one of the apex dragon rulers still breathing, though she's literally on her last legs today. For 7 brutal days, an elite squad of premier humans, orcs, dwarves, mages, and holy knights has been gonking her, severely maimed, heavily cursed, and staring death in the face. These trophy hunters want her dead for pure clout, loot, and raw dominance, when suddenly my UI system, visible to my eyes alone, pops up, flashing a prompt with a triple choice. Option A, team up with a raid squad for basic rewards. Option B, kickback and AFK. Option C, a low-key secret path, requiring me to creep right up to the beast and parley with her, which is majorly sketch, since both factions would instantly flag me as a hostile mob. Secret objectives are my absolute vibe, while Option A's loot is safe, though totally basic NPC behavior. Only a cracked high-tier player like me would dare touch mysterious Path C. You know, maximum danger always drops the most insane loot and exclusive lore. So I cinch my traveling cloak tight, cast a low-tier stealth wind spell to mask my presence, and ghost across the rocky terrain toward her. The heavy stench of ozone and dragon blood thickens the air. 80 meters out, then 50, then 30. 20 now. I can clearly spot her shimmering golden blood and necrotic curses writhing inside her gashes. Her dormant aura alone still rattles my core. An automated warning flashes telling me to abort, right before Option C fully unlocks itself, pledging complete allegiance to the majestic, forsaken Dragon Queen. By kneeling in the dust and offering up my soul, we'll forge a primordial, unbreakable pact. The payout? A mythic hidden class, known as the Dragon Queen's personal knight. Even though my survival odds are sitting way below 1%, am I really going to pass up a sub 1% chance at greatness? Licking my parched lips, I flash a wicked smirk. Fear? Never heard of her. I'm totally stoked. My RNG has always been cracked, so I'm putting it all on the line now. Lock in that mission, I echo silently in my head. The UI instantly seals the deal as a dark, golden frame materializes, framing the twisting silhouette of a black dragon inside. Almost instantly, an electric surge ripples through my physical body and consciousness, binding my fate directly to the dying sovereigns. Right on cue, new directives pop up across my display. Reach the wounded black dragon queen's side and convince her to take me on as her sworn knight. Survive the grueling binding ritual and help orchestrate her escape from this death trap. Flubbing this means going down with her in flames. There's no turning back now as the final assault kicks off. The raid general bellows out the execution order as a chaotic barrage of crimson, cobalt, and violet spells saturates the sky. Venomous arrows plummet downward like a deadly storm curtain, while waves of frontline warriors unleash glowing sword slashes, all converging in a devastating blitz toward the Black Dragon Queen, like a catastrophic wave crashing down, powerful enough to wipe out a whole district. Alluvia stands right there battered and bleeding out. Her obsidian armor scales are totally shattered, and her majestic wings are heavily torn. Dark, viscous blood pools on the scorched earth underneath her. Yet fierce pride still blazes in her golden eyes, gathering the last reserves of her energy deep in her throat. She prepares to unleash one final destructive blast, taking everyone out along with her. That exact second is when I make my move, bursting out from cover behind the boulders, to sprint straight in her direction. Gale force winds whip wildly at my clothes. Stray energy blades slice shallow cuts across my skin. Surging right behind me, a deadly barrage of attacks closes in fast. The icy breath of death crawls straight up my spine. Every single fiber of my being is screaming at me to run away. But I refuse to stop, refusing to even look back. With my arms thrown wide open, I look totally microscopic next to her, like a tiny field mouse standing in front of a giant mountain. Shock paralyzes everyone else across the chaotic battlefield. Frantic hunters start screaming, calling me out as a total psycho. They try to intercept me, but their magical assaults are already mid-flight and impossible to call back. Raising my gaze, I look deep into her massive golden eyes. She glares back, completely stunned and deeply suspicious. Taking a breath, I bellowed out the ancient sacred oath, putting every ounce of my being into it, letting the eternal stars and the bottomless abyss bear witness to this. My name is Lu E, and I offer both my soul and my physical body to forge an unbreakable, lifelong pact with the noble Black Dragon Queen, Alluvia, supreme ruler of the abyss and the endless dark. I vow to be your sharpest sword slicing through all shadows, and your ultimate shield against any incoming harm. My heartbeat will synchronize with yours, our fates bound together for all eternity. Please accept me as your loyal dragon knight. The very second those words leave my lips, I drop straight to one knee, my knee hitting the shattered cobblestones with a heavy thud, pressing my right hand over my chest while lowering my head respectfully, mimicking the ancient ritual detailed in dusty old tomes, where a mortal humbly petitions a dragon sovereign for the highest knightly bond. Even with my head bowed low, I keep my posture upright, lifting my eyes to lock them directly with hers. Time itself seems to slow to a crawl. That massive wall of destructive magic is still racing right toward us. With total annihilation only seconds away, Alluvia stares down at me. I can clearly see a turbulent mix of shock swirling in her golden gaze, confusion and pure rage clouding her mind because from her perspective, I am just a pathetic bug trying to propose to a literal goddess. While she is at her absolute lowest, it is basically like running up to a wounded royal queen covered in injuries, holding out a handful of weeds while casually saying, "Marry me, I've got your back." It is utterly ridiculous and downright insulting. A deep, guttural growl rumbles from her throat in her majestic voice. Foolish insect, get lost or be destroyed. Her overwhelming murderous aura hits me like a blast of sub-zero air. My heart is hammering hard, and not out of pure terror, but because I know this is my one and only shot. Drawing a sharp breath, I shout even louder than before, pouring every remaining shred of my spirit into these words. I have never laid eyes on anyone more breathtakingly gorgeous, more overwhelmingly powerful, or more noble than you. Your scales shimmer like the deepest constellations in the midnight sky. Your eyes look like pure gold melted straight from the summer sun. Even majestic mountain peaks bow down before your might. So tell me, how could someone as incredible as you ever fall right here, slaughtered by these savage butchers and thieves? Just grant me a single shot, even if I get reduced to dust, fighting right by your side for just one fleeting second, and I'll have zero regrets left. Crossing paths with you is low-key the ultimate miracle of my whole existence. 70% of this monologue was already mapped out inside my brain, specifically designed for winning over high-key, proud female characters, while the other 30% is raw emotion being squeezed right out by the harsh reality that I'm actually about to flat-out die. Olivia freezes dead in her tracks, completely shell-shocked. Across thousands of years of existence, not a single soul has ever praised her in this fashion, while everyone else either feared her terrifying power, resented her consuming darkness, or schemed to steal her strength. No one ever casually told her she looked breathtaking, and absolutely nobody had ever uttered these words during her lowest, most battered, and most vulnerable moment, bolstering her shattered pride as everything around her fell apart. Something microscopic stirs deep within the frosty walls of her heart, spreading like a tiny ripple across a pitch-black, still lake. That massive wave of incoming attacks is crashing right on top of us now. Scorching heat blisters my skin as total death wraps itself completely around me. With nowhere left to bolt, her colossal jaws suddenly yank wide open, and her thunderous voice reverberates straight through my inner soul. Insignificant mortal, make sure you don't forget your sacred oath. Should your treacherous heart harbor any hidden evil, my hellfire will incinerate your soul for all eternity. The very second she gives her nod, Alluvia whips her head upward and unleashes her final breath attack, striking directly at the oncoming wall of total destruction. Simultaneously, a glowing dark golden magic sigil flares to life across her chest, while a slender thread of pure gold shoots outward and strikes me dead center in the chest. An agonizing wave of pain hits me harder than anything I've ever experienced. Something scalding, feral, and soaked in ancient darkness rushes across that glowing thread, flooding straight into my flesh, deep into my skeleton, and right into my soul as the system interface starts spamming wild alerts. The contract binds itself successfully. My profession shifts instantly into the hidden tier known as Eternal Night. Dragon Knight, shooting my max health up by a factor of 10, multiplying my magic pool 5-fold, and tripling my raw physical strength. Brand new abilities unlock for me like Dragon Power, Dragon Thrust, Dragon Riding, and Soul Link. My muscle fibers bulge out, my bones crack and expand, my bloodstream boils like molten lava, and the outer edges of my vision tint a brilliant dark gold. The sheer pain is so blinding that I can barely form a coherent thought. Yet the staggering power tagging along with that agony is straight up insane. Alluvia's obsidian breath smashes head-on into the enemy army's barrage, mid-air, triggering a massive shockwave that rattles the entire canyon and instantly vaporizes dozens of opportunistic hunters. Even so, she's left critically drained after wiping out the bulk of that offensive wave. Her draconic breath completely flickers out, allowing the leftover blast energy to slam straight into her battered physique, causing her to wobble dangerously and almost crash to the ground. Residual stray spells and arrows streak directly toward my position too. Realizing this is my cue, I grip my spear tight and channel every ounce of that feral draconic energy directly into the weapon. Dragon Thrust ignites as the spear transforms into a deep dark gold, humming loudly with cataclysmic destructive frequencies. I launch myself forward straight into the chaotic storm of spells and arrows, refusing to dodge as I barrel through the hazard face first. Every single swing tears my muscle tissue apart, but I refuse to stop. With my eyes blazing ever brighter, I carve out a clean path right through the middle of the mess. Dozens of deep, gory gashes rip open across my body. Yet I finally burst through right to the front of Alluvia's massive head, using my own body along with my melting and fracturing spear. I desperately deflect the brutal attacks headed straight for her. Warm blood mixed with tiny chunks of my internal organs coughs up from my throat. The sheer agony almost knocks me out cold. Yet this wild dragon energy keeps patching me back together, even as it scorches my insides into absolute crisp. A sudden system notification chimes that her vibe toward me has totally shifted. Gone is her view of me as a dangerous threat, replaced by sheer shock and low-key emotional warmth. Her piercing golden eyes lock onto my bleeding back as I stand tall, drenched in crimson and barely keeping myself from shattering apart, while stubbornly refusing to drop to my knees. She is mentally processing how he is actually shielding me right now, using this trash, borrowed magic, using this fragile human meat sack body. Something inside the mighty black dragon queen officially snaps. For the very first time, she drops the label insect and actually calls me out by my real name. Luo, hang in there. Her battered left wing sweeps over my broken frame like a protective canopy, pulling me tight against her scales. She then launches off the scorched earth with her massive claws, flapping her shattered wings. With every last ounce of juice she has left, propelling us straight up into the atmosphere. We zigzag upward, shaking violently like a shot-down bird. Down below us, the hunters lose their minds screaming. She is making a break for it. Target her wings. Take out that traitor. Volleys of spells and arrows rain down onto her back, and wings, exploding into thick mists of blood. Every single one of her muscles twitching in agony reverberates right through me. The metallic reek of blood is so suffocating I can practically taste it. I grip her scales tightly with one hand, only to spot the mages down below, weaving a heavy binding trap to lock us down. There is no way I'm letting them pull this off, so I let go with one arm, dangling halfway off her frame, and channel the final drops of my dragon energy into my shattered sword before hurling it with maximum force. The blade fractures midair into pieces, yet those shards retain a dark, golden radiance, streaking forward like high-speed bullets. A legendary mage deflects the bulk of them with his barrier. The one lone fragment punches straight through and drills deep into his shoulder. His spell instantly shatters as he lets out a blood-curdling shriek. That microsecond of delay is all we need. As Alluvia shrugs off the heaviest incoming onslaught, gives her wings one final, desperate flap, and vanishes with me into the thick, gray clouds, fading into a tiny speck against the distant horizon behind us. The hunters blow their gaskets and immediately start prepping, tracking spells and aerial beasts to hunt us down. Back on the battlefield, they clear the wreckage and tally their casualties, until a scout steps forward to brief the gold-armored commander on a wild piece of intel. He claims I bear a spitting image to a guy he once spotted in the capital. None other than Duke Raymond is the second-born son from the prestigious Violet family, a young aristocrat infamous throughout the entire realm for being utterly incapable of utilizing magic. Alkumbaoha. Basically a total scrub, completely ghosted by his own bloodline. The Your General blows a fuse with absolute fury. Barking. Are you out of your mind? That kind of raw power, that kind of speed, that insane fearlessness. And you were telling me it was some useless noble brat? The scout swears on his life, I am that exact person. Insisting he remembers, because my face is unforgettable. Yet not a single shred of magic remains, causing the commander to suddenly fall silent. Deep in thought, he knows full well that across the entire continent is common knowledge that forging a Dragon Knight contract can totally transform a mortal physique. What if he secretly made a pact with the Black Dragon Queen ahead of time? Then again, Dragon Knights haven't actually walked this land. 4 ages down on the solid ground below, a ruthless call is made by the gold armored commander. Keeping the truth hidden is his top priority. Having thousands of elite warriors surround a collapsing, wounded Dragon Queen, only for a single guy to swoop in and rescue her, would be a total PR nightmare for everyone. So he decides to spin a massive lie, demanding that every soldier stick to the exact same narrative, claiming the Black Dragon Queen was saved by some rogue dragon servant, posing as a human duke's kid, while the real Luo, he was supposedly kidnapped or wiped out. He forces the scout, who recognized me, to go along with it, and dispatches the fake report straight to the capital and my old man, Duke Raymond of the Violet household. Miles above the heavy clouds, I am stretched out across Olivia's back, resting right on the least jagged part of her armored spine, where fewer scales are shattered. A soft, protective veil of shadow energy keeps me steady. My energy is totally drained, and breathing feels like absolute agony. Our bond is still bleeding a portion of her pain right back into me, combined with my own severe injuries and a massive toll of wielding magic my body wasn't built to handle, leaving me hovering right on the edge of blackout. Suddenly the system interface pings, notifying me that Phase 1 of the hidden quest is officially cleared, with all 4 objectives smashed, scoring me an S-tier rating, securing my new class and contract as the main loot for now, with plenty more rewards dropping later, depending on how my relationship with Olivia evolves. Her affection meter for me has bumped up to 36, reflecting a weird mix of curiosity, low-key respect, and something she can't quite put into words. Turning my heavy head toward her with great effort, I force out a weak, sarcastic joke through the pain. So tell me, Olivia, does this low-key count as eloping? Her massive frame locks up rigidly for a split second, before she exhales a blistering blast of hot air at me with an irritated growl. Shut your trap, you insolent human. Yet the deadly frostiness in her tone has totally vanished, while her affection score ticks up another notch to 38. She is clearly mortified, even if she isn't genuinely mad. Tearing fiercely through the dense, gloomy storm clouds, she carries me deeper into the dark, uncharted expanse. Close behind us, the hunters, and soon the entire military forces of the kingdom, will be hunting us down, while ahead of us lies nothing but thick mist, peril, and a fiercely proud, injured Dragon Queen, who hasn't quite figured out what to do with me yet. Resting my weight against her back, I can vividly feel the steady thud of her colossal heart underneath me. My fingers unconsciously brush against her armor-like scales, feeling rigid and ice-cold, yet pulsating with life, thrumming with an electric, bizarre warmth and raw power. My own pulse skips a beat as I realize, right as consciousness slips away, that this crazy journey is only just beginning. I drift off to sleep with a faint smile on my face, while floating in my field of vision. Her affection score of 36 glows with a soft, unwavering light before jolting awake from a fresh wave of agony, where every single muscle aches and every bone feels like it's filled with molten lava. That biting chill, razor-sharp high-altitude gales slash fiercely across my freezing cheeks, stretching flat out on Olivia's massive back. High above the drifting cloud cover rests my weary body atop her sleek obsidian scales. It takes a few hazy moments for my brain to piece everything together. The blood-soaked canyon, that brutal clash. The binding contract, our low-key insane escape, right? Against all odds, I rolled the dice and won big by bonding with a legendary Black Dragon Queen. Before ghosting the scene together, and the system tracker pops up, clocking over 7 hours ticking away since that fateful pact was sealed. Letting out a heavy groan, I realized we were still cruising through the skies. having flown straight for 7 solid hours. We still have not reached our destination, I murmur feebly, my cracked words getting instantly shredded by the howling wind. Your Majesty, where on earth is your secret lair tucked away? These poor old bones of mine are literally falling apart up here. Her colossal horned head pivots slowly around, glancing down at me with a single golden eye shining with cold annoyance. Following a tense, heavy silence, she finally speaks up. Are you seriously implying that my flying speed is trash? Instantly, my core survival instincts kick into overdrive. Nope. That was definitely not what I meant to say at all, I swear. I was merely pointing out that this distance is low-key massive. That is literally all. She lets out a sharp snort and proudly tosses her snout high, even though the sudden motion visibly aggravates her fresh wounds. She lectures me, claiming that if she were not currently cursed, brutally ambushed, completely drained of her magic, forced to dodge bounty hunters, and saddled with hauling around a total deadweight like me, she could effortlessly cross the entire continent in a couple of days. She challenges whether I honestly think her title, Wings of Eternal Night, is just for show. Oh yeah. Your Majesty is fiercely powerful and mind-blowing. Unquestionably number one in the whole world, I mumble exhausted. Then my dumb mouth just has to keep running. So how much longer until we actually arrive there? The split second those words leave my lips, I know I totally messed up. Breaking hard midair, her spiked tail snaps upward suddenly, while a soothing yet inescapable shroud of shadow magic wraps tightly around my torso, yanking me clean off her back and launching me right into the open void, spinning through a full 360-degree flip, a terrifying kilometer above solid ground. Go ahead and fly your own self there, she states flatly, her voice sounding as cold as ice, though I catch a subtle detail. The very tip of her dark tail curls upward in a playful flick. She is totally getting a kick out of this, and panic instantly floods my veins, flailing my arms and legs wildly through empty space. I manage to spot her whipping tail close by, and desperately clamp my hands onto a razor-sharp bone spike at the tip. Now I am dangling precariously underneath her tail like a tattered flag in a hurricane, swinging violently back and forth. Directly beneath me lies nothing but an endless, dizzying ocean of clouds. And far down below, those sit microscopic speck-sized mountains. One single slip of my grip means instant death, forcing me to surrender immediately. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. I was completely wrong. Almighty wings of eternal night. Unrivaled flyer across the entire continent. Infinitely faster than lightning and way mightier than any storm. Truly nobody matches your supreme greatness. Please show mercy and forgive this utterly foolish little human. Banking gracefully to the side, she peers down at me, dangling helplessly from her tail. A clear flash of quiet satisfaction shines within her golden gaze. Do you still think my flying speed is slow? She inquires, her tone sounding cool yet dripping with mockery. Not at all, not even a fraction of a percent. Are you still planning to pressure me about the pace? Absolutely never again. You have total freedom to cruise for as long as you want. Yeah, even if it takes until the end of time. I'm sticking right here by your side, no cap. We're totally eloping, in case you forgot. Alluvia chills out after a brief moment of tension. She drops her massive frame so I can scramble back onto her spine. Try disrespecting me again and watch what happens. I'll straight up toss you into the abyss as a snack for the demons. Yeah, absolutely. Your Majesty is always dripping with wisdom and generosity. I blurt out, hauling myself back up onto her scales. Massaging my aching shoulder, I shamelessly keep running my mouth. I was totally out of it from my injuries and just babbling nonsense. Besides, we're locked into this life-sharing contract together. If you chuck me off and I bite the dust, that feedback loop is going to hit you just as hard, bestie. That's definitely not a vibe for you either. That shuts her right up because she knows I'm dead right. If I kick the bucket, she suffers the exact same fate. She suddenly realizes I've cracked the rules of the game, and now I'm totally exploiting them just to get away with being annoying. I can totally sense her inner saltiness. Back on the battlefield, I was all about being brave and sincere. Yet the second we're out of danger, I've morphed into a shameless, low-key troll. Suddenly, a system pop-up flashes that her affection has bumped up to 40. It notes she's gotten totally used to my endless rambling. And honestly, she's finding some weird enjoyment in messing with me. So she's low-key the type who loves trolling people. Wonderful. We keep soaring through the skies for another 2 hours. The landscape below shifts from jagged peaks into an endless expanse of deep, shadowy forest. It's crawling with ancient trees and hyper-dangerous magical beasts. That's when I notice Alluvia starting to lose momentum. Her breathing turns ragged and heavy. Every single wing beat looks painfully forced. Fresh blood starts seeping right out of the cracks in her wings. Instantly, it gets whipped away into a fine red mist by the wind. She's been pushing way past her absolute breaking point this whole flight. She begins gliding down toward an open clearing, sitting right at the edge of the woods. When I ask if we finally made it, she replies with a flat no. She physically just can't stay airborne anymore. This thick forest provides enough canopy cover to keep us hidden. Plus, it's got local prey she can hunt to regain some energy. She touches down hard, her claws gouging deep trenches into the soil, as she desperately tries to stay upright. Barely 2 seconds later, she completely collapses on her side. Her massive chest heaves in violent gasps. Dark, suffocating smoke billows from her maw with every single breath, and crimson foam starts bubbling out from the corners of her jaws. Her majestic dragon aura is practically non-existent now. I slide off her scales and sprint straight toward her head. Pulling up the contract status screen makes my stomach drop instantly. Health is at 3% and still tanking. Magic is sitting at 1.7%. Stamina hits a bleak 0.4%, and the system drops a harsh warning that without medical backup, she'll flatline within 72 hours from her severe injuries, and the toxic curse tearing through her body. Because of our shared bond, her perishing means I'm going down with her at 3%. She pushed through over 7 hours of flight in this horrific condition, carrying me across hundreds of miles through the open sky, dodging trackers while fighting through agonizing pain. Yet she refused to let herself crash, until we finally reached a safe spot. Reflecting back on every single shuddering breath she took, every agonizingly weak wing beat during that journey, she was dying the whole time and didn't utter a single complaint. Suddenly, the system chimes once more. Her health bar plummets by another 0.1%. Are you actually kidding me right now? I'm Wata. I take a heavy, grounding breath, dropping low right before her colossal head. Your Majesty, keeping up this pace is totally not happening. Her eyelids fight open even right now. Acting barely conscious, she still tries to sound high and mighty. My limits are known to me, so spare me the lecture. No, they aren't. Slipped right out of my mouth. Her heavy dragon pressure slams into me like a freezing wave, though her magical contract absorbs most of the blow. Not flinching at all, I lay the hard truth out to her. Some rest, healing, and food are what she desperately needs. Right now, even a random pack of wild magical beasts, or a few stray hunters, could easily take us both down. So I ask her to shrink her body down to conserve her power, and allow me to look after her. Silence stretches out for a long moment. Deep down, I know she totally agrees with me. Only her stubborn pride keeps her from admitting it. She is, after all, the feared Black Dragon Queen, worshipped and dreaded for thousands of years. Showing any weakness in front of some human she met less than a day ago feels totally out of the question, prompting me to try a new angle. Softening my tone, I remind her about our binding contract. If you stay alive, I stay alive, meaning looking after you, is literally just me saving my own skin. So please, just let me help you out. 5 straightforward words packed with 0 tricks and 0 flattery, yet they manage to strike a nerve deep inside. Those glowing golden eyes lock onto me intensely, and I can actually see her icy defenses cracking just a bit more. Following a heavy silence, she lets out a deep sigh. If a single word of this ever leaks to anyone, I will rip your soul straight out and burn it away in the abyss for 10,000 years. Suddenly, her massive frame starts glowing with dark energy. That gigantic dragon begins shrinking at a crazy speed, getting smaller and smaller, until right there in the middle of all those scattered and shattered scales sits a tiny miniature black dragon, roughly the size of a house cat, complete with adorable little horns, a slender tail, and tiny, gleaming black scales covering her entire body. Staring in shock, I had honestly pictured maybe a smaller, yet still intimidating battle-ready shape. Definitely not this pocket-sized version. Lifting her head up, she tries her best to look fierce and majestic, even though her little tail is dragging flat on the dirt. Those fierce golden eyes keep their exact same color, yet they now look absurdly huge on her tiny face, resembling 2 chunks of bright amber, looking nothing like a terrifying, almighty dragon queen. She looks low-key adorable, biting down hard on my cheek to stop myself from bursting out. Laughing right now basically means instant death. What on earth are you staring at? Her voice has totally changed too, sounding high-pitched, squeaky, and unusually youthful, though she still tries to sound super intimidating. Have you seriously never laid eyes on a Dragon King's core form before? You clueless, insignificant bug. Never. Your Majesty still radiates an absolute royal presence, even in this adorable form, which is honestly super impressive. I reply, while keeping a completely straight face, while my inner cheeks ache from holding back this massive grin. Letting out a heavy huff, she attempts to waddle toward a shaded patch of trees. But after barely 2 steps, her tiny front legs completely give out, causing her to nearly faceplant right into the leaf-covered ground. Reacting a flash, I bend right down, scoop her fragile body up, and carefully tuck her into my arms. Thankfully, my rugged battle jacket features a deep pocket sewn right against my chest, crafted perfectly to cradle a miniature dragon curled up tight. The howling wind gets blocked completely, while my body heat radiates to keep her cozy. "You rude insect," she squeaks out, her voice sharp as glass, yet possessing zero intimidation factor because she is just too tiny and adorable. "Please stay still, Your Majesty, since you've got zero energy left for walking." Snugly wrapped inside my heavy coat goes she, leaving merely her little black dragon head and 2 tiny, flailing claws poking out into the chill, as I secure her safely against my chest. "Let go of me. How dare you touch the king?" Alluvia Thrash is currently tucked right in my arms, her tiny claws scratching feebly against my shirt fabric, though she lacks any real strength anymore. Her fierce, frantic struggles give off major angry kitten vibes, throwing a massive tantrum. Honestly, I cannot help myself. "Your Majesty, you look dead-ass like a grumpy little kitty right now." She completely loses it. "Who are you calling a cat? I am a dragon, the Black Dragon Queen, ruler of the eternal night." Every single word drops with fierce, unfiltered determination, yet her voice remains so minuscule and soft that the entire speech winds up sounding like an epic toddler meltdown. "Shoo, keep your voice down and save your energy." My hand gently pats her cold little back right through the cloth layers, resting my warm palm directly against her icy scales, so the soothing heat can slowly seep through. She freezes up completely. For thousands of years, not a single living soul has ever dared to touch her like this. While everyone else kneeled, trembled, and kept their distance, no one has ever patted a dragon queen on the back, as if she were just a kid needing comfort. Yet I pulled it off so naturally, acting completely oblivious to how wild that actually is. While she remains utterly stunned, I snatch up a sturdy stick from the dirt floor, roughly matching my height and thick as my own arm. My old blade snapped during the battle, so this makeshift tool will have to do. A thin stream of dragon power gets channeled straight into the wood, causing dark golden light to ripple along the grain, until the dead branch hardens into steel-like strength, finished off with a razor-sharp tip, not bad for a makeshift spear. Clutching the spear firmly in one hand, I keep Alluvia secured safely against my chest with the other. Right then, a sudden rustling echoes through the surrounding bushes, as glowing green eyes blink open within the dark shadows, creeping closer, starting with 2, then 10, followed by even more forest magic wolves, growing way larger than standard wolves, sporting dark fur and poisonous fangs, dripping with toxic green slime. The pack leader towers up nearly as high as my chest, crowned with a twisted black horn right on its forehead. They clearly tracked us down using the scent of dragon blood, while my system quickly scans their levels at 10 to 15. They rank as ordinary mobs with weak spots at the throat, vulnerable soft bellies, and exceptionally low shadow magic resistance. Taking down the alpha will cause the rest to panic and scatter instantly. Honestly, it's the ideal difficulty setting to properly test out my brand new Dragonite powers. A quick glance is cast down at the sulking mini-dragon resting in my arms. "Stay still, Your Majesty. Hold on tight and make sure you don't fall out." Planting my left foot firmly ahead, I snap my spear up and lock every muscle tight like a pulled bowstring, the Wolf King letting out a howling roar as a trio of massive beasts lunges from different angles, their glowing green fangs bared, dead set on tearing into my throat, waist, and legs. Instead of retreating, I surge forward into the chaos, and my wooden spear drives straight into the first creature's windpipe, piercing cleanly through the soft spot beneath its jaw. One hit, instant shutdown. Spinning the shaft around, I smash the second wolf right across the temple, sending it flying backward. The final wolf comes crashing in from the left flank, but I catch its jaws barehanded, slamming it into the dirt before running it through the neck. 3 apex predators dropped in 3 heartbeats. Tucked safely inside my jacket, Alluvia watches in silence. And I can totally feel her low-key shock. It is not the kills themselves that catch her attention. These are just minor fodder to her, but rather my execution, so surgically clean and precise, leaving zero wasted movement. Completely unlike that goofy clown trash-talking her. Just moments ago, I pull up my system stats, noticing I am sitting at level 10. My strength, speed, and durability have skyrocketed way past normal limits. All thanks to the Dragon Knight class. So far, I am only tapping into 17% of my dragon power. And right there on my HUD, 4 more locked subclasses pop up ready for future grabs. Fire Dragon Knight, Frost Dragon Knight, Holy Dragon Knight, and Light Dragon Knight. That brings the total to 5 Dragon Knight paths. My current one included making my pulse race. Making that pact with Alluvia was easily the best call I have ever made. A fresh wave of wolves charges in, driven completely berserk by the stench of dragon blood. And I carve through them with zero mercy, impaling one's neck, snapping another spine, and crushing a third snout within minutes, until the survivors tuck tail and scatter, deep back into the dark woods. Catching my breath, I immediately check on Alluvia first. She is tucked safely inside her pouch, curled up super tight, her glowing golden eyes locking onto me with a complex vibe, blending shock, confusion, and maybe even a hint of respect. Your fighting style is acceptable, she mutters under her breath while turning her tiny head away, stubbornly refusing to hand over any real praise. I just flash a grin and let it slide, then drop to one knee among the fallen beasts, crack open the alpha's skull using my spear tip, and dig out a compact, diamond-shaped magic core. It is low-tier stuff, warped by a mix of wind and dark mana, hardly worth more than a handful of silver coins. Yet for a dragon queen stranded at 3% health with 0 mana left, even this meager spark could jumpstart her recovery. Lifting it toward her with gentle care, I murmur, "Your Majesty, please absorb a little of this to regain some strength." Sticking her tiny snout outward, she takes one sniff before immediately whipping away in total disgust. This filthy, tainted trash harvested from a pathetic low-level beast. You honestly expect me to ingest such garbage? Normally, this junk. That junk wouldn't even pass. To line the bottom of my nest, honestly, her stubborn pride remains sky-high, as ever. Yet I notice her tiny frame visibly trembling. Total magic depletion is freezing her from the inside out. She's fading fast with every second that ticks by. Holding back my own exhaustion, I drop down low to one knee and drift the glowing magic core right up to her tiny snout. Softening my tone like I'm trying to baby talk a kid, I murmur, "Just take a single bite, please. I promise I won't bug you about it after this." "Nope." Snapping her little jaws shut, she aggressively looks away. "Just one small taste to patch up those gnarly wounds." I said absolutely not. Whipping her head in the opposite direction, she stubbornly tucks her miniature wings in tight. Right then, her stomach lets out a super faint rumble. Though quiet, it echoes crystal clear through the dead silence of the woods. Her entire body instantly freezes up, while the tip of her tail twitches with low-key panic. Catching every bit of it, I bite back any teasing remarks. And for the very first time, I ditch all formal titles to just call her real name, Olivia. My words come out warm and steady, totally chill. Devoid of fear or BS, just pure, honest comfort. Her golden eyes flicker as something inside her finally melts. Trying one last angle, I press on, just remember our deal. If you actually flatline because you're too stubborn to grub down, I'm going down with you, and dying is totally not on my to-do list. I literally put my neck on the line to rescue you. Signing up as your official Dragon Knight. I haven't even gotten a chance to shred the skies by your side, or help you smoke all your haters, or watch you bounce back to absolute peak power, and taking the whole world together. There's no way I'm kicking the bucket pathetically out here in the wild, tapping the glowing core softly against her freezing little nose. So just for today, swallow your pride and eat this for me, please. Staring right back at me, wolf. My face is still caked in blood and exhaustion hits hard. Yet I flash her a reassuring, genuine grin. I can practically see the memories flashing behind her eyes. Me sprinting toward her through that dangerous canyon. Me blocking every brutal hit meant for her. Me bundling her up safely inside my jacket. She finally gets that I'm stressing out over her well-being. Not chasing her status or hunting for clout. Just caring for her as she is. She bobs her head down, snatching the core out of my palm with one lightning-fast bite, before diving headfirst into the depths of my pocket. determined to hide her face completely. Faint crunching noises filter out from the cloth, accompanied by muffled grumbles spoken in pure dragon tongue. She's probably low-key complaining that it tastes like literal dirt. That faint surge of juice from the core ripples through her body. Even though it's barely anything at all, it successfully hits the brakes on her health draining away, and takes the edge off that nasty curse pain. Her affection meter bumps right up to 42. She actually let me look after her. Reaching carefully into the fabric, I stroke her sleek, ice-cold scales along her spine. They feel slick and smooth like dark polished glass. Chilly yet super fragile. Such a good girl. I whisper under my breath. Two tiny, sharp fangs instantly clamp down onto my finger, not even piercing the skin this time. Just enough to pinch, her classic signature way of getting back at me. Classic her, refusing to drop the attitude even on the brink of death. Gazing down at the faint tooth impressions left on my finger, a bizarre thought suddenly pops into my head. Knowing that Livia has walked this earth for millennia, having once dominated the whole continent, scaring entire empires shitless and commanding the abyss itself. Dragon chronology operates on a completely different scale, though, making me wonder what her age looks like translated to us. I glance down at the tiny, scaled creature resting in my arms. The same dramatic little diva, who throws epic tantrums, refuses meals, acts totally pressed when I hold her, and straight up bites me whenever I call her a good girl. A wild, unhinged theory starts brewing in my brain. What if this legendary, earth-shattering black dragon monarch, recalculated into human years, isn't some ancient, terrifying eldritch terror at all? Could it be that she's basically low-key, just a stubborn, chronically proud little kid? I instantly shake off that dangerous line of thinking regarding her actual age, knowing some deep secrets are better left unexamined. Because if I ever catch myself laughing at her over it, she'll make me regret my entire existence. The sun is dipping below the horizon, casting the darkening forest in a freezing, eerie shadow. So I sweep my gaze across the clearing one final time. A few lifeless wolf carcasses are still strewn about the dirt, though thankfully nothing else is heading our way. It's chill for now, so let's get moving. Your Majesty, it's getting super late out here, and we really need to lock down a safe place to crash tonight. A tiny, sleepy little murmur escapes the bundles in my arms, prompting me to look down as the miniature black dragon has already nested her head right into the crook of my elbow. Breathing softly and peacefully, she looks completely knocked out. I automatically soften my footsteps and regulate my breathing, reminding myself that this almighty dragon queen, who strikes absolute fear into the whole continent, is actually not so intimidating up close. Deep within the dense timberland, I spot a massive, ancient tree trunk, wide enough that it would take 10 grown folks holding hands to encircle it, whose tangled roots have carved out a natural hollow, neatly concealed behind a thick curtain of dangling vines and heavy moss. The interior space provides just enough clearance for me to stretch out my tired legs completely. After spending 10 solid minutes clearing away debris, dead leaves, and sharp stones, I gather armfuls of soft ferns to fashion a makeshift sleeping pad, before finally slumping back against the wooden roots with a long, exhausted sigh. Every single muscle in my body aches when Livia suddenly pokes her head out, scanning the gloomy interior of our shelter. With her piercing, luminous golden eyes, fairly acceptable, she mentally judges with a huff. I reach out to grab my fire striker to get a small blaze going, only for her tiny paw to stop me. No fire. This pitch-black forest is swarming with nocturnal predators equipped with razor-sharp night vision, meaning a flickering flame would signal a dinner bell for miles around. And we definitely can't handle wave after wave of ambushes right now. Knowing she's spitting straight facts, I quickly stow the striker away, though the temperature plummets rapidly as darkness settles in, and a biting, damp chill seeps into the hollow. My sweat-drenched clothes stick uncomfortably to my skin, triggering involuntary shivers as my teeth chatter quietly. I try my absolute best to stay dead still so she won't wake up, yet she notices anyway after a long stretch of silence. So extended I genuinely thought she had passed out. The front of my jacket folds open from within, and her compact black form silently scrambles out without a peep, treading delicately across my chest on her short little legs. Fumbling a bit, she scrambles up toward my collar and snuggles her entire frame right against my bare skin, pressing her diminutive shape intensely, right against my throat and collarbone. A steady wave of heat radiates out of her, stemming from the residual energy of her dragon life force. It is totally trivial to a dragon queen operating at full capacity. Yet for me right now, it genuinely hits like a cozy heater in the freezing winter. That comforting warmth permeates through my skin, seeping straight into my bloodstream to chase away the chill. A gentle tickle washes over my collarbone from her tiny dragon breath, carrying a soft, warm vibe with faint hints of sulfur, and something reminiscent of distant galaxies. Your Majesty, will you please shut up? Her voice sounds muffled and completely stubborn. It is not like I am warming you up on purpose, you know. We are bound by a mutual life-sharing contract. So if you happen to freeze to death out here, that backlash is definitely going to hit me too. This ridiculous contract is honestly nothing but a massive headache. She keeps grumbling the entire time, even as her little head burrows even deeper into the crook of my neck, while her slender tail wraps tightly around her own body, pushing herself even closer against my cozy warmth. Her words say one thing, but her actions tell a totally different story. Glancing down at this stubborn little dragon, who claims one thing while doing the exact opposite, a sudden rush of tenderness floods my chest. Against my skin, her heartbeat can be felt pulsing, rapidly like a tiny drum. My hand is gently placed upon her cool back, drawing her just a fraction closer. She stiffens for a second before completely letting go of her tension. Zero fighting back and zero scolding. She just accepts it quietly, remaining still and calm, curled right against my neck within the shelter of the tree hollow. The midnight wind rustles softly through the canopy, while feral beasts howl in the distant darkness. Yet the interior remains warm and peaceful. Her affection meter ticks up to 45 now. According to the system, she is getting used to my body heat, and has willingly chosen to stay close, letting my eyes drift shut as I fall asleep. There are no dreams, just pure rest. As morning breaks, golden sunlight filters through the branches, carrying a crisp and clean scent in the morning fog. My physical state feels significantly better. Thanks to the contract, my wounds have healed quite a bit overnight. Lowering my gaze, I find Olivia still positioned right there, deeply slumbering within the curve of my neck. Her expression looks totally relaxed and peaceful, with all her usual pride and frostiness completely vanished. Her tiny mouth is parted just a bit, revealing a cute sliver of pink tongue. She smacks her lips every now and then, and emits the softest little snoring sounds, resembling a sleeping kitten. The terrifying supreme ruler of the abyss is literally snoring on my collarbone while I fight hard not to laugh, though my suppressed, trembling accidentally wakes her up. Blinking open her sleepy golden eyes, she stares blankly at me for a couple of seconds, before memory of last night rushes back. Swept by panic, she jolts upward too quickly, and accidentally rams her tiny horns straight into my chin. Ow! The intense pain brings tears to my eyes. That is what you get for staring, she snaps defensively, puffing up her tiny body with her tail raised high in the air, trying to look all tough and fierce. I just stroke my hair back and flash a grin. Having this tiny, sassy dragon queen hanging around makes even a sketchy survival situation low-key fun. Once I've stretched out and caught my breath, I pull up the system app. A squad of iron spine boars is chilling about 2 clicks away. They're level 15 to 18 magic beasts, boasting rock-solid hides and steel bristles down their backs, but completely soft bellies. Earth-type magic cores and edible meat are what they drop. Edible meat? Man, my mouth is totally watering. I've been surviving on dry rations and wild berries ever since I hit the road years ago. Some hot roasted pork sounds like pure heaven right now. Too bad this world is totally lacking in cumin or chili powder. Your Majesty, I'm heading out to hunt some boars. I'll bring back dinner for us and some magic cores for you. She lets out a lazy yawn right on my shoulder. Iron spine boars? Those are just filthy, brainless, low-tier creatures. Their magic cores are even trashier than the wolf ones from last night. I don't want any part of them. Right on cue. Her little tummy lets out a loud rumble. She instantly goes stiff, snaps her jaws shut, and whips her head the other way, as if nothing just happened. I bite back a chuckle, pick up my wooden spear, and march toward the boar zone. Upon reaching the boar territory, I slip into the thick brush to scope out the scene. 5 iron spine boars are grubbing in a muddy patch. The alpha is massive, sporting 2 sharp ivory tusks and rigid bristles that stand up along its spine like steel spikes. Your Majesty, let's team up on this. I whisper, adding that I'll charge in and pull their aggro. You can hover above and pepper their eyes and bellies With miniature dragon breath blasts, Olivia leaps off my shoulder and puffs herself up to about the size of a crow, just large enough to sustain flight on her own. The almighty Black Dragon Queen has been reduced to helping a human hunt farm pigs. She mutters under her breath that if anyone ever finds out, she'll literally die of embarrassment. Yet she's already perched on a low-hanging branch, with her golden eyes locked dead on the targets. Fully ready to strike, I burst out of the bushes and charge. The lead boar goes totally berserk, drops its head, and rockets straight at me with terrifying momentum. I dodge sideways at the absolute last second and sweep my spear toward its front legs. Only this beast moves way faster than I anticipated. It evades the strike and whips its tusks across my flank, shredding my outer jacket and sending me flying backward. I stumble and nearly crash down when a tiny beam of dark energy strikes the boar, square in the face. Olivia's mini dragon breath goes off on its snout like a bomb, blinding it temporarily. I recover my footing and glance up at her with pure gratitude. She snorts from her perch. "What are you gawking at? Keep your head in the fight. If I hadn't bailed you out just now, that dumb pig would have totally flattened you. I only held back on purpose, so you could get some practice. Now give it your all, you absolute idiot knight." This second round goes way smoother for us out here. A fake opening gets dropped as I draw the boar straight to my left flank. Spinning fast upon its miss, a strike gets driven right into its right eye, while Olivia swoops downward to torch its left eye with a burst of dragon breath. Completely blinded and losing her mind, the massive beast thrashes wildly around. My spear is violently thrust into the tender spot right under its throat. Crashing heavily onto the dirt, it goes completely still and lifeless. Screaming in sheer terror, the remaining 4 boars scramble away into the deep woods. Catching my breath, a tiny yellow magic core gets dug out, straight from the leader's shattered skull. Low-tier stuff, but hey, it totally gets the job done for now. A tiny black shadow suddenly drops right onto my shoulder. Olivia keeps her head held high in total arrogance, her tail swishing proudly as she mocks, "You are seriously pathetic. You clueless knight. Without me around, you would be turned into absolute pancake meat under those hooves." She is fishing hard for compliments right there. Resisting is futile as my hand reaches up to scratch her little head, fingers gliding smoothly across her cool, dark black scales that feel sleek as polished glass. Then, the tip of my finger accidentally brushes the base of her tiny horn. She jolts instantly like a live electric wire, just zapped through her entire system. Her wings pop wide open in shock, golden eyes blown wide with sudden panic and major embarrassment. What on earth do you think you are doing?" She leaps backward off me, clamping both tiny claws defensively over her horns, her voice sharp and totally flustered. "Do not go around touching my horns." My hand freezes dead in midair. "Hey, I literally just patted your head. No means no, huh?" A faint dark red flush spreads across her scales. She stammers awkwardly while half explaining and half trying to cover her tracks. Dragon horns are intensely private and hypersensitive zones. Only the absolute closest loved ones, or well, whatever. Random outsiders are strictly banned from touching them. Her voice trails off softer and quieter, until she abruptly spins completely away from me, presenting the back of her stiff little head. "Radiating pure awkward cringe." So dragon horns are crazy sensitive, got it. That bit of intel gets mentally bookmarked for later use. Both hands go up in total surrender. My bad, my bad. "I promise your horns are safe from me forever now." She lets out a huff, though her tail tip gives a playful little curl, totally betraying the fact that she is not actually furious. Her affection meter ticks up to 47, according to the system prompt. She is low-key, starting to vibe with our teamwork. The carcass gets dragged over to a hidden stream once the hunt wraps up, where flowing water can mask the heavy scent of blood. Over an hour is spent meticulously processing every single part. The meat gets sliced into strips and roasted over sticks to serve as future food rations. That tough hide gets scraped and treated properly, so it can be turned into a handy backpack down the road. Cleaning up the magic horn next, it gets handed straight to Olivia. She glares at it with absolute disgust, before her eyes shift toward my pale, exhausted face, recalling how hard I sweat and busted my back for this. She finally gulps down the core in one swift bite. "Gross," she deadpan remarks. A laugh almost bursts out of my mouth, but I manage to choke it back right as my gear gets packed up. To head back out, an icy shiver shoots straight up my spine. Someone, or something majorly powerful, is watching our every move. My grip tightens hard on the spear, while the forest looks dead calm around us. Melodic bird calls echo while gentle streams ripple by. Yet every single gut feeling inside me is screaming total danger. What is wrong? Alluvia springs upward from my shoulder, instantly alert. Something is tracking us, I whisper under my breath. And it is seriously powerful. Out of the murky shadows behind me, a pitch-black blur violently explodes, moving way too fast for my eyes to even track it. Radiating pure, unadulterated killing intent. I hurl myself sideways purely on raw survival instinct. 3 vicious claw marks slash deep into the dirt, right where I was just standing, looking as clean and smooth as knife cuts. Scrambling back onto my feet, I finally get a good look at it. A shadow panther, easily towering at the size of a massive bull. It is sleek, muscular, and coated in pure black fur that completely camouflages into the surrounding darkness. Piercing amber slit eyes lock dead onto me, while swirling wisps of black mist curl menacingly around its paws. Thick saliva drips from its razor-sharp fangs. A blinding red warning suddenly flashes across the system interface. Level 30. Elite Boss Monster. An absolute master of shadow and stealth, featuring claws that can shred magical barriers, protective shields, and heavy armor. It boasts explosive speed that practically has no equal among beasts. Given its overwhelming level, the system's advice couldn't be clearer. Flee right now, and do not even attempt to fight. My heart immediately drops into my stomach at the sight of level 30. An elite boss, whereas I'm sitting at a measly level 12. Even with every single one of my Dragon Knight stat bonuses active. This absolute unit completely outclasses me in every single way. It is currently in peak physical condition, with a glossy coat and rock-solid muscles, while radiating a massive reserve of uninterrupted shadow energy. Meanwhile, Alluvia and I are both battered, bruised, and running on fumes. It is definitely hunting us down. Alluvia pipes up from the upper air, noting how my dragon blood scent is leaking outward, no matter how hard I try to conceal it, while low-level creatures keep their distance out of sheer terror. A top-tier predator like this views it as the ultimate prize, making it totally worth risking everything for. This mess is completely on me, I mutter, gripping my spear handle tighter. Then let's take this thing down together. Before she can even finish, the panther lunges forward. One split second, it is standing completely still. The next, it is already materializing 3 meters right in front of my face. Its deadly claws swing downward, heavily wrapped in suffocating dark shadows, completely cutting off any possible direction I could evade. With no other options left, I am forced to try and block. The sheer impact feels just like getting sideswiped by a falling boulder. My palms split wide open as warm blood starts running down the wooden spear shaft. I get blasted backward, violently slamming into a thick tree trunk. A heavy cascade of leaves rains down over my head. Coughing up a mouthful of blood, I feel like my ribs have completely shifted out of place. There is zero time to recover as the panther instantly melts back into the shadows and vanishes completely from sight, leaving me unable to see, hear, or sense its presence at all. Its stealth capabilities are operating far beyond anything I am equipped to handle. Suddenly, a terrifying realization hits me. It was never after me to begin with. It wants Alluvia. Take out the dragon first, and snack on the human later. That is the textbook mindset of an apex predator. A sleek black claw suddenly shoots out of thin air right behind her, aiming straight for her tiny, defenseless body. Watch out! My body reacts long before my brain can even process the thought. I launch myself forward toward her, completely ignoring the blinding agony screaming across my chest, and frantically shove her out of harm's way. Instead, the vicious claws tear straight through my own flesh, leaving 3 deep, gaping gashes ripped across my body, stretching all the way from my left shoulder down to my right hip, shredding through flesh and muscle straight down to the bone. A gush of hot blood instantly drenches half of my body. A blinding jolt of agony strikes. My sight fades to pitch black, pushing me right to the brink of passing out. Alluvia, her piercing shriek cuts through the heavy air like a razor. I collapse hard onto the dirt. Dark crimson pools rapidly beneath me in the soil. With an eerie grace, the shadow panther pads closer, radiating an eerie, twisted calm. It casually licks my blood off, its razor-sharp claws flashing. A sickeningly lazy grin. As far as it's concerned, I'm already toast. Now it just needs to finish off that defenseless, Little dragon, while stalking toward me with slow, deliberate steps, fully coiled for the killing blow. Suddenly, the entire forest locks up in dead silence. A crushing, primeval pressure, so terrifyingly ancient, slams down over everything. The wind completely dies down. Every living creature freezes and holds its breath. The beast's legs suddenly freeze in place. Its posture stiffens rigidly as its pupils shrink down to tiny pinpoints. It is shaking violently, trembling from the very core of its terrified soul. Raising its head, it watches Alluvia rapidly expand right before its eyes, growing from crow-sized to chicken-sized, then hawk-sized, until she towers at half a person's height. Her dark scales unfold and shimmer with a chilling, metallic sheen. Those once playful golden eyes are completely gone now, blazing fiercely with pure, unadulterated golden fire, swirling with a rage so profound and savage, it feels capable of reducing the entire world to ash. This is the raw, undeniable authority of a true dragon, the overwhelming might of a dragon monarch. Every trace of softness and stubborn petulance vanishes from her voice, replaced by a tone low, freezing, and impossibly ancient, echoing like a thunderous roar clawing up from the deepest depths of the abyss. You dare hurt him? The microsecond those final words drop, Alluvia unleashes a legitimate dragon's breath, abandoning the tiny sparks of before, for a devastating blast carrying the full destructive might of the Black Dragon Queen. Diminished, yes, yet still profoundly terrifying, potent enough to rattle the soul of any living creature. Shrieking in panic, the Shadow Panther scrambles to dive sideways, but it's moving far too slowly. The dark torrent rips straight across its hind legs, instantly melting away fur and muscle upon contact. Foul black smoke billows upward as its flesh rots away. Howling in agony, the beast slams sideways into a thick tree trunk, half of its body heavily mangled and gushing blood. Yet the sheer pain pushes it completely over the edge into madness. Gathering its very last reserve of energy, it launches a desperate, suicidal charge straight at Alluvia, snapping its fangs directly toward her throat, intent on trading its miserable life for hers. Dragon thrust, pushing past my limits. I honestly have no clue where I'm scraping this strength together from. My body is completely torn open and blood coats every inch of me, but I violently lunge in from the flank and drive my spear straight through the beast's gaping jaws, bursting out the back of its neck as its amber eyes instantly glaze over. It stumbles forward for 2 more sluggish steps, its claws carving deep grooves into the thick mud, before crashing face first into the dirt, falling completely still forever. Dropping heavily to one knee, my trembling fingers lose their grip on the spear. My entire frame shakes uncontrollably. Heavy shadows close in rapidly around my fading vision. Yet I refuse to waste a single glance on my own brutal wounds. Turning my head quickly, I scan the ground to spot her. Shrunken down to the size of a common crow, she rests there. A scattered bed of dead leaves cradles her fragile form. Completely drained of energy, I manage to ask, "Are you okay?" My voice comes out terribly hoarse and weak. Yet, the genuine worry bleeding through is unmistakable. She fixes her gaze right on me. 3 gruesome gashes tear openly across my bleeding chest. Crimson warmth soaks through nearly half of my clothes. Staying upright takes every ounce of my remaining strength. Even so, my absolute first priority was keeping her safe. For the very first time, her tone carries no fake pride. Every trace of her usual acting and mask is completely gone. Pure, raw fear and blind panic take over as she snaps. "You idiot. Why didn't you dodge when you clearly saw that strike coming? What possessed you to block it directly with your own body?" A small, exhausted smile forces its way across my face. "Because that attack was heading straight for you." "So what if it was?" she shouts back furiously. Her voice cracks as she screams. "I am the Black Dragon Queen. I rule over the eternal night. So, a low-life forest panther. You're way too weak right now," I say quietly, cutting her off. "I know damn well how powerful you truly are. At full strength, you could disintegrate that monster with a single breath. Right now, though, you can't." Raising my blood-slicked hand, I gently rest it right atop her tiny head. Careful maneuvering ensures I avoid her sharp horns this time. A soft, comforting warmth spreads against her ice-cold scales. Every single word of my sworn oath echoes in my mind. "As your personal sword, I will slice down every single threat. As your ultimate shield, I will block any incoming danger, until my body gives out and I am reduced to nothing. No one is ever laying a finger on you. That is simply what a dragon knight does. A true dragon knight lives to protect his dragon. Instantly, her minuscule body freezes in absolute shock. Having walked this earth for over 4 millennia, she has witnessed endless cycles of fear and greed. Betrayal and every other disgusting trait humanity possesses are old news to her. Yet, someone like me is entirely unprecedented, bleeding heavily while on the verge of collapse. I am flashing a gentle smile while speaking directly to her. Without a single shred of hesitation, I prove that shielding her from harm is the most instinctual thing imaginable. A heavy, unfamiliar thud echoes deeply within her chest. It is a sensation she has never experienced before. Across all 4,000 years of life, right on cue, the system alerts me that her affection spiked straight to 50. Deep inside her heart, I am no longer viewed as a mere temporary contract associate. Earning her profound trust transforms me into something much more. Now functioning as her actual guardian, the system floods my notifications with rewards. Slaying that level 30 boss instantly boosts my level by 3, bumping me up to 15. Every baseline stat surges simultaneously as the panther drops a mid-rank shadow magic core onto the ground. It radiates pure power completely free of impurities. For a starved shadow dragon queen desperately craving magical nutrition, this item serves as the absolute ultimate remedy. Torn strips of fabric combined with concentrated dragon energy are used to bind my chest wound and stanch the heavy bleeding. A thick scab has already begun forming over the ugly gash. Sharp pain flares up with every single breath I take, but at least internal bleeding is no longer a threat. Ignoring the rest of my punishing injuries for now, I march straight over to the defeated panther's carcass and violently crack open its thick skull. Dark energy pulses richly from the glowing shadow core nestled inside. Wiping it down quickly against my bloodstained shirt, I pocket it, and I extend the dinner core straight toward Her Majesty. Her Majesty stares at the core in silence, before her gaze drops to the brutal gash across my chest. A long, heavy silence falls between us. Then she slowly bows her head and plucks it right from my grip. Not a single complaint escapes her lips. She doesn't throw any fit about the quality at all. Right now, she completely gets how much this core cost me. The second it goes down her throat, a warm wave of shadow energy floods through her entire system. Her health stat shoots up from 3% past the 8% mark. Her depleted magic begins to bounce back. She pulls back from the very brink of death, giving her some actual breathing room to heal up. Watching her vitals level out on the system interface, I let out a massive breath of relief. She is out of danger, and honestly, that's all that counts. Suddenly, everything fades into pitch black. My body crashes face first straight into the dirt. Lovey's panicked scream echoes as the final sound I catch. I have no clue how long I've been knocked out cold. As my eyelids finally flicker open, I find myself resting inside our tree hollow on a cozy fur mattress. The crushing agony in my chest has simmered down to a dull throb. My injuries have already been cleaned up. A thick coat of herbal paste seals the cuts, giving off a faint, earthy scent of wild plants. Fresh cloth bandages are bound securely around my torso. The wrapping job looks a bit clumsy, though. Clearly, it was tied by someone who has zero experience bandaging wounds. Yet every single layer is wrapped with tight, careful precision. Whoever did this clearly gave a damn. Shifting my gaze over, I see Livia curled up right beside my pillow. Her tiny form is rolled into a tight ball atop the ferns, sound asleep. Soft moonlight filters through the gaps in the hollow's wood, casting a silver sheen over her dark scales. Stripped of her daytime pride and aggressive attitude, she looks just like a snoozing kitten. I lift my hand to stroke her head, but my fingers barely budge before her golden eyes snap wide open. What do you think you're doing? Her voice comes out soft and sleepy, though it's instantly laced with suspicion, freezing my hand in place. I smoothly adjust my motion, redirecting my hand to scratch the back of my own neck. Just an itch. She squints at me hard, not really buying it, but decides to let it slide. She then trots across my chest on her tiny legs, halts right over my bandaged wound, and pokes it gently with a small claw. SSS. I wince in pain. Oh, so you actually feel pain after all? She scoffs, immediately easing up her pressure, until she's barely brushing the fabric. You're lucky. It looks brutal, but it totally missed your heart and lungs. I used ancient dragon herbal lore to whip up a custom remedy for you. Just for you. Sleep it off tonight, and it'll start stitching itself together by dawn. Blinking in shock, I stammer. You know medicine? Dragon heritage spans 10 millennia of deep wisdom. Herbal healing is nothing more than a minor party trick to us. She tilts her chin up with a proud smirk. Then she quickly looks away, her voice dropping down to a faint murmur. Sounding awkward and shy, she mutters, in my 4,000 years of breathing, this is an absolute first. I've actually healed someone's injuries before, with my very own hands, so if you dare trash talk my skills, I'll totally take you out, and I watch her awkward, blushing reaction while a cozy warmth spreads through my chest. Thanks a lot, I murmur softly. Her entire body locks up as her scale tips flash pink. Following a long beat of silence, all she can spit out is a quiet humph. Snapping her head away, she refuses to deny it. Then, because I just can't help myself. Were you low-key crying earlier? I ask. Chaos instantly erupts inside the tree hollow. No way in hell, she snaps. A dragon tail violently whips across my body with a sharp crack. By the next evening, I find myself down by the stream, scouring the shadow panther's hide, just as the ground begins to rumble beneath me, starting faint before growing louder and much heavier, sounding like 1,000 war drums hammering closer and closer. Deep within the mountain, the system suddenly flashes a blazing red. A Lord-tier beast, sitting at least level 50, has picked up on Olivia's massive energy spike from yesterday, and it's driving every single creature in this forest right toward us. It's a massive stampede deliberately meant to flush her out. Scrambling up a towering tree, I peer out across the canopy, and the gruesome sight practically freezes my blood. Countless beasts, wolves, massive boars, giant lizards, and freaky things I've never even laid eyes on, are flooding through the woods like a living tidal wave. They aren't hunting for sport, they're literally running for their lives, and they're barreling straight in our direction. Every single escape route is blocked off. There's no gap, no clear path, and zero ways around, right as Olivia materializes beside me, hovering right at my shoulder with a dead serious look on her face. This mess is totally my fault, because my dragon power outburst yesterday completely blew our cover. Whatever terrifying entity dwells deep inside that mountain felt it, and is weaponizing this stampede to force me out into the open. Staying calm is crucial, because taking on this horde is suicide. We'll get completely overwhelmed. She pauses for a tense second. Before dark, eerie dragon flames begin flickering across her tiny body. Luo, no matter what goes down next. Do not freak out, just trust me. Before I can even get a word out, she spreads her wings wide open. A violent burst of shadow energy surges around her, and her body starts expanding, not just a tiny puff like before, but a full-scale transformation reminiscent of a majestic war beast. Within seconds, she bulks up to the size of a fully grown war horse, her dark scales gleaming fiercely while her massive wings stretch wide. This is her absolute limit, given her currently wounded condition, and the massive strain on her body shows instantly. Her breathing turns ragged and heavy, while her mystical dragon flames flicker erratically. Yet she stands her ground firmly, hovering right in front of me, to act as my shield. Locking her burning golden eyes onto mine, she commands, "Get on," leaving me stunned for a single heartbeat. Stop just standing there like a statue. The stampede is almost on top of us. I can't hold this massive form for much longer. Move, shaking off my shock. I launch myself out of the tree and land squarely on her back. It feels surprisingly broader and way more stable than expected, even while she's in this half-formed state. My hands instantly find the base of her horns, situated right on either side of her neck, and I grip them tightly to secure my balance. The exact moment my fingers make contact, something clicks, as a bizarre, invisible connection instantly bridges the two of us, allowing me to physically feel every single twitch of her muscles, anticipating every single move before she even makes it. Deep exhaustion and sharp pain flood through me as if they were my own. A system prompt chimes in, confirming that the dragon riding skill is finally active. Overall stability and coordination get a massive boost. Our senses sync by 35% while mount registration completes for Olivia. Wings of Eternal Night, the fearsome black dragon queen herself. The moment I climb onto her massive back, something entirely unexpected happens. Instead of dragging her down with extra weight, my unique dragon riding skill actually helps her soar much smoother. It successfully lightens the load and refines her aerial movements, while completely upgrading every single aspect of her flight. She notices this sudden change instantly and demands an explanation. She asks, completely stunned. I nervously scratch the bridge of my nose, admitting it is just my Dragon Knight skill, specifically dragon riding. It upgrades our team's synergy and makes flying a total breeze for you. 3 agonizing seconds of dead silence follow. Then her voice echoes through my mind with a terrifyingly calm tone. So you were telling me you possessed a skill this entire time that could have made flying effortless for me, and yet you chose to keep it a secret for 2 whole days. You stood by and watched me drag my dying body across hundreds of brutal miles, hauntingly carrying you until my life force was completely drained. While you said absolutely nothing, I have no good excuse ready. I totally blanked out and felt completely disoriented right after waking up. And then we were constantly caught up in fighting and running for our lives. You absolute idiot of a human. She blasts those harsh words straight into my mind. Utilizing our deep soul link, I quickly bury my face deep into her dark neck scales and pretend to be dead. Hang on tight, because the crazy stampede is finally upon us. She drops the topic, refocuses entirely, and beats her massive wings hard, launching herself forward like a striking bolt of black lightning, aiming straight for the weakest edge of the raging beast horde. A massive wave of heavy wind hits us. A pack of howling wolves charges right at us, as their alpha lets out a piercing cry, showing pure terror toward the dragon, though they look even more terrified of whatever nightmare is chasing behind them. Hang on for real, she warns, opening her jaws wide. To unleash. A devastating blast of shadow breath sweeping across the entire front line. Dozens of wolves drop instantly like freshly cut grass, carving out a clear path as I press my body low against her spine. Spear gripped tightly in hand, picking off every single monster daring to get close. From the flanks and rear, landing one precise thrust per kill, always striking straight for the throat or vulnerable eye. We coordinate our attacks like a well-oiled machine with 100 past battles under our belt. She clears the messy path ahead, utilizing destructive breath attacks and sharp aerial maneuvers, while I carefully cover all her blind spots and finish off any remaining stragglers. Together we function as a single lethal blade of dark steel, cutting cleanly through an endless ocean of desperate and panic-stricken creatures. The moment my spear finally punches straight through the final rock lizard, blocking our escape route, we manage to break free into open space, leaving absolute chaos and madness echoing behind us, and revealing a vast open valley right ahead, brilliantly bathed in the warm, fading golden light of the sunset. Alluvia gradually lowers her speed and glides smoothly down to the valley floor. The second her paws touch the ground, her knees instantly buckle underneath her. She nearly collapses from sheer exhaustion as the intense physical transformation, along with the brutal fighting and continuous flying, had completely drained every ounce of energy she had left. I quickly vault off her back and rush forward to support her heavy neck, asking anxiously if she is all right. It is really nothing at all. She pants heavily, still desperately trying to keep up her proud facade. This is just a minor side effect of releasing my true dragon form. Just give me a little bit of rest, and I'll be totally fine. She murmurs as she gently lays down on the soft grass. Catching my breath, I quietly settle down right next to her. My fingers gently trace along the trembling edge of her wing. I make sure to steer completely clear of any sensitive spots. You crushed it. Seriously, thank you. Not a single word comes out from her. Resting her massive head on her front claws is all she does. Then those golden eyes of hers slowly drift shut. The scent of blood and smoke gets swept away by the cool evening breeze. Fresh-cut grass takes its place in the air. As the last rays of light fade out, a dead still night settles over everything. Even so, we are far from being out of the woods. Buried deep inside the ancient mountain range, down in the absolute pitch blackness, a pair of eyes far darker than the night itself blinks open. An eerie, low, possessive chuckle reverberates through the hollow mountain. Olivia, look at how pathetic you become. Night blankets the valley in darkness. I lean my back against a smooth boulder. My wounds slowly mend thanks to the active contract. Scabs have formed over the claw marks on my chest, itching intensely, as brand new skin starts pushing through. Curled up tightly on the grass right beside me is Olivia. Her breathing is steady and deep. Her shadow energy is steadily building back up. An eerie silence hangs over the valley, way too quiet. The crickets have gone totally silent, and the wind has completely died down. My gut instinct is screaming at me that something is wrong. Suddenly, the The ground blows wide open. Trees topple over from the violent shaking of the earth. Massive rocks tumble down the slopes. Something massive is tunneling straight toward us. From deep beneath the dirt, flashing in bright blood red, the system panel reads, Earth Splitter Bear, King Lord. Class Boss, level 75. Since I'm only level 15, that makes for an insane 60-level gap. My survival odds can't even be calculated by the system. It just flashes a blunt warning to run as I grab Olivia and yell out, "We gotta move right now, something's coming." Her eyes flash open at that exact microsecond. Instead of making a run for it, she stands up tall and shoves me safely behind her. Look who decided to show up, an old friend. The entire north wall of the valley gets blasted into pieces. Stepping out through the thick dust and falling boulders is a beast. The size of a miniature castle. Towering 20 meters high on its hind legs, it sports thick as steel needles that pulse with crackling earth magic. Jagged slabs of living rock are embedded all across its back, like natural armor, while its dark red eyes burn like hot coals. It gazes down at Olivia, showing zero fear whatsoever. Just pure greed, contempt, and the absolute thrill of revenge. Well, the great black dragon queen. It rumbles with a deep voice that rattles the canyon walls. "You look so pathetic now. You've really lost your edge." My stomach drops instantly. This monster actually recognizes her and holds a major grudge. Lifting her head high, Olivia refuses to break her pride, even in this battered state. "You're nothing more than a beaten dog at this point. You were literally begging for your life right at my claws back then, handing over every piece of treasure you own just to stay alive. And now you actually have a nerve to talk trash to me?" A deafening roar tears from the Bear King, causing the ground beneath its paws to fracture. Surrounding its massive frame, wild earth magic erupts, as dozens of stone spikes, each as thick as a structural pillar, materialize in midair. I stare at the scene in total disbelief. Did she actually just talk smack to a level 75 boss monster? Facing this absolute unit, picking a fight is honestly the last thing we should do. Maybe some smooth-talking diplomacy instead. Buying time, literally anything other than jabbing at its deepest trauma. But Olivia isn't about that diplomatic life. She glances back at me, dead serious for once. "Back up, Your Majesty. Back up," she repeats, leaving zero room for debate. "This is ancient beef between us. Stay out of it," she orders, pivoting to confront the living mountain before her. Black Dragon. Crackling flames erupt across her petite frame. "You seriously think I am still that same dying lizard from 3 days ago?" Her voice reverberates through the dead of night, carrying the absolute, undeniable clout of a dragon king, even rocking a mere 30% of my full juice back. Taking you down is a total breeze. In a matter of seconds, her body begins to swell. Olivia morphs straight into a massive black dragon, with wings stretching well over 20 meters wide. Her dark scales gleam fiercely beneath the moonlight, while her golden eyes burn with pure, unadulterated combat hype. She might still be way off her peak size. Yet, even this form hits hard enough to rattle the soul of any living creature. A flash of caution crosses the Bear King's eyes, quickly twisting into vicious spite as it scoffs. "You're totally bluffing." It slams both colossal paws directly into the earth, sending hundreds of jagged stone spikes raining down from above. Like a barrage of meteors, Olivia scoops me on her back and launches straight into the sky, expertly weaving through the deadly gaps of the rocky tempest. Suddenly, a rogue spike clips her wing and rips away several scales. Dark golden blood splatters across the chilly air. She lets out a low grunt, but holds her line steady, firing back instantly with her breath of destruction. A concentrated beam of pure, dark energy, way thicker and darker than anything I've ever witnessed her unleash before, rips through the atmosphere straight toward the Bear King. The surrounding space warps and groans loudly under the pressure. Refusing to dodge, the Bear King stands its ground, crossing its arms to stack its rock armor into an ultra-dense shield, several meters thick, before charging headfirst into the incoming blast. The resulting impact is blindingly bright, and a massive shockwave flattens every tree. For hundreds of meters around, as the dust finally clears, the Bear King is somehow still standing there. Its armor is completely shattered, and its fur is badly scorched. Dark blood leaks from its wounds, but it is very much alive. It actually tanked a direct hit from a Dragon Queen. Your breath attack is way weaker than it used to be. It cackles. "You're genuinely hurt bad, aren't you? Pathetically weak." It launches itself into the stratosphere like a flying mountain. Olivia barely manages to pull up in time to evade the collision. You survived one blast, she remarks coolly. Think you can survive 10? You won't even get the chance. Throwing its head back, the Bear King lets out a deafening roar. So loud it makes the mountains tremble, while the system alerts me that a King tier skill has just been triggered, known as Ancient Beast Command. Every single flying creature within a 100-mile radius, possessing lower power than the Bear King, is now placed under absolute forced obedience. Active duration, 30 minutes. My blood runs totally cold as I gaze upward. The stars completely vanish behind an overwhelming wall of wings. Thousands of savage flying beasts flood in from every imaginable corner. Massive iron-feathered hawks boast wingspans stretching 10 meters wide. Swarms of menacing stone gargoyle bats darken the air. Two-headed lesser dragons spew scorching fire everywhere, growing from hundreds into thousands. They completely black out the sky while encircling Olivia from all flanks and viciously cutting off every single escape route. The Bear King flashes a wicked grin from the ground below. I've literally waited hundreds of years for this exact moment, just to catch you when you're completely wiped out. Sure, you can take down 100 or 1,000, but what about 5,000 or 10,000? Just hand over your dragon essence. I promise I'll make it quick and painless. Olivia hovers unsteadily in midair, her chest heaving heavily. Her majestic dragon flames flicker and fade. That single breath attack drained almost all the reserves. She had managed to rebuild, leaving her running on pure fumes again. I scream up to her, "Your Majesty. Pull back now. Don't try to take them all on by yourself." She fiercely grits her teeth. Unbridled fury and deep frustration burn bright in her eyes. She knows damn well I'm right, as she can't possibly fight a Lord-class boss alongside 10,000 flying monsters simultaneously, yet turning tail and running from someone who used to bow down at her feet stains her proud soul to the core. While she hesitates for even a split second, the vicious swarm closes in. Hundreds of armored winged dragons spearhead the assault, jaws gaping wide as they dive straight for her throat. Olivia whips her massive wings around and blasts the leading wave of flying beasts into pieces. Dozens of them perish instantly. A rush of massive experience points floods into me, bumping my level to 16. Thanks to our shared life contract, both of our health pools instantly recover by 15%. I feel the oppressive tightness in my chest vanish while right beneath me. Her flight grows noticeably steadier, yet countless more beasts immediately rush to fill the gaps. Endless tidal waves keep crashing through our psychic bond. Her voice echoes in my head, surprisingly calm and resolute. All pride and banter are gone now, Luo. I'm going to carve a path open and charge straight at the Bear King, drawing every single one of them toward me. You need to fly in the exact opposite direction. The monsters will chase me instead, giving you roughly a minute to get out safely. I freeze in shock, blurting out, "What are you even thinking? You wait too young to pull this off? Just shut your mouth." "You stubborn queen," I snap back. "Our contract binds our lives together through thick and thin. If you go down, I'm toast anyway. You fly, I fight. And let fate decide the rest." She lets out a heavy sigh, calling me an idiot, right as the massive swarm prepares to collide with us. A blinding pillar of silver-white light strikes down from the heavens. It isn't moonlight at all, but pure dragon breath. Blindingly brilliant and spanning over 10 meters wide, plummeting vertically out of the upper atmosphere, directly into the densest core of the flying swarm. Night is instantly turned into blinding day. Hundreds of creatures disintegrate into thin air without a single sound. The colossal, iron-feathered Hawk King is reduced to a fleeting silhouette within the blaze, before completely ceasing to exist. A single devastating strike obliterates the entire sky, filled with monsters, leaving the Bear King staring upward in absolute terror. As a magnificent silver-white dragon majestically glides down through the clouds, she stands just as massive as Olivia, yet crafted with way sleeker, classier lines, resembling a masterwork carved straight out of moonlight and sterling silver. A soft, mesmerizing shimmer dances across every single scale. Long, impossibly delicate horns crown her majestic head. Luminous silver light drifts off her wingtips like drifting flakes of glowing snow. Behold Seraphina, the legendary silver dragon queen, known as the Moonlight Aria, casting a frigid gaze down at the Bear King, with the exact look someone would give a lowly bug crawling on the floor. Zero anger whatsoever, just pure, bone-chilling indifference. With fur standing completely on end, the Bear King stumbles backward in sheer panic, its voice trembling wildly as it stammers out, "A silver dragon queen." Completely ghosting his terrified stutter, she shifts her attention entirely to Olivia, lingering for just a fleeting second on my form with her silver eyes, before pivoting straight toward the battered black dragon. Cool and dripping with playful tease, her voice echoes out, smooth like a crystal stream winding under the night moon. "Honestly, Olivia, you are looking completely tragic right now." Instantly, Olivia's entire body goes rigid. Through our mental bond, I can practically feel a whole civil war of emotions raging inside her. Deep humiliation, boiling frustration, the helpless agony of being completely unable to fire back a single word, plus the utter torment of being exposed like this, especially by someone she knows personally. "Why on earth are you here, Seraphina?" she manages to choke out through stiff jaws. With effortless grace, the silver dragon queen settles down onto a jagged boulder, her long tail draped stylishly over the stone, making it look like a royal throne. I caught the faint vibe of some total fool's life force flickering out. "So, I figured idi come investigate." Imagine my surprise finding a brainless bear putting on such a pathetic little circus act. Her eyes flick briefly toward the retreating beasts, then back to the Bear King, whose bravado is evaporating into thin air right before our eyes. Dealing with a wounded Olivia was one challenge entirely, but facing a second Dragon Queen, operating at peak power, is a whole different beast. Suddenly, Seraphina's expression hardens into ice. "Get lost right now." While I'm still in the mood to settle our ancient history, using words instead of pure fire, hesitation freezes the Bear King in its tracks, having waited centuries for this exact golden opportunity. It looks from Seraphina over to the scorched, smoking earth, where thousands of its flying monsters used to patrol just moments ago, all wiped out instantly by a single breath attack. Its teeth begin clattering loudly against each other. Without dropping another sound, it spins around and sprints away, crashing frantically back through the mountain ranges, until the seismic rumbling completely dies out in the distance. A heavy quietness settles over the valley as Seraphina's massive silver dragon physique starts shrinking down and restructuring, her scales folding inward smoothly, her huge wings tucking away as she shifts into a human woman. She is an absolute vision. Cascading silver-white hair tumbles down past her waist, glowing softly with a subtle starlight aura. Her chilling silver eyes run deep like tranquil pools under the moonlight. Her skin carries a near-translucent pale glow, complemented by razor-sharp, elegant facial features. She wears a fitted silver-white robe that looks deceptively simple. It is actually heavy-duty dragon scale armor underneath, traced with intricate silver patterns catching every glint of moonlight. Standing tall and poised, she carries herself like the literal moon walking among mortals. Having decided to take a stroll down on Earth, while I'm losing my mind in a full-blown panic spiral, having recognized her the exact microsecond I spotted that signature silver breath. It's Seraphina, the Moonlight Aria herself. None other than the Silver Dragon Queen. Back in my game, she was literally one of the top-tier VIP targets. A solid 2 months were poured by me into maxing out her affection levels completely. Winning her over was easily one of the toughest grinds ever. Among all the legendary dragon queens out there, my master plan with Olivia relied purely on desperate loyalty, while dealing with her darkest hour alongside Seraphina. That whole approach was, well, it is a long and painful story to unpack. The main takeaway here is that, once I figured out, unlocking a Dragon Knight class with her was totally impossible. I low-key ghosted the situation, and now she is literally standing right in front of me. The exact second her transformation kicks off, I pull off the fastest reflex move of my entire existence, ripping a stray strip of cloth straight off my coat. I wrap it securely across my face, and tie 2 double knots tightly behind my head. By the time her vision adjusts and she focuses, only my eyes are left exposed to the air. Definitely the most rushed disguise I have ever improvised. Seraphina strides closer, moving with an eerie, unhurried elegance. She casts a quick glance at my bleeding wounds before asking Olivia, "Who is this guy?" Olivia immediately swoops in right in front of me protectively. He happens to be my Dragon Knight, absolutely not an enemy. For the very first time, Seraphina's ice-cold composure completely shatters. Her striking silver eyes widen in absolute, genuine shock. A dragon knight. Something that has not walked the earth for over 3,000 years? You heard right, Olivia's voice dripping with unmistakable pride. He is my personal dragon knight. Serafina falls silent for 3 agonizing seconds, before a complex smirk slowly forms across her lips. It is a weird blend of surprise and curiosity, heavy suspicion, and something else I cannot quite put my finger on. Fascinating, she murmurs quietly, peering past Olivia to look right at me. How on earth did you pull this off? That is completely beside the point. Olivia snaps back, her tone growing tense. Oh, it is very much the point. Serafina fires back, her expression shifting into a playful grin. Every single member of the dragon race is well aware that a dragon knight pact, especially a high-tier life-or-death soul bond, forge appelle an unbreakable resonance between both souls. According to ancient dragon lore and texts, this depth of connection is basically the exact equivalent of what mortals call. She pauses deliberately for dramatic effect, before pronouncing the final phrase slowly and clearly. Marriage. Olivia's scaled cheeks instantly flare a brilliant red. Utter nonsense. That is just pure human foolishness. Our Dragonite contract is a sacred covenant, period. It is not a wedding, so stop making up wild stories. She yells out. Serafina tilts her head back with a calm, knowing smirk. Hey, I only repeated what the sacred archives explicitly state. Names were never mentioned by me, though you seem awfully defensive. For someone who claims to have nothing to hide. Serafina, the legendary Silver Dragon Queen, lets out a refined little giggle and smoothly drops the topic. Then, taking another step closer, she locks her gaze entirely on me. So tell me, mysterious Dragon Knight, why on earth are you concealing your face right now? Standing right in front of another Dragon Queen? Panic is officially melting my brain because she knows Olivia inside out. She is easily way more perceptive than Olivia could ever be. And if she manages to figure out my actual identity, my run is completely over. Back in the day, I had to spend 2 brutal months winning her over, slipping away completely without a trace. Once it hits me, that unlocking her Dragon Knight class is a no-go. If she connects the dots right now. Standing next to Olivia, my cover's totally blown. Clear in my throat, I force my vocal cords down into the roughest, lowest register possible. Name sure how. Old throat injury here. Please excuse the raspy voice, sure how. Pure suspicion narrows her piercing silver eyes. A confused glance is also shot my way by Olivia, though she stays completely silent. For 2 agonizing seconds, Serafina gives me a thorough once-over. My build, my shoulders, and my height are scanned by her sharp gaze. Thanks to the Dragon Knight transformation, I'm noticeably taller and way more jacked than before. All because of that crazy power-up. Yet she seems genuinely bothered by my eyes, the only visible feature left, uncovered on my face. Something about them triggers a vague sense of familiarity in her mind. Even though my voice is completely off, she distinctly remembers a youthful, warm tone instead of this broken, raspy growl, causing her to drop the interrogation. Even though the expression in those silver eyes screams volumes. Something is definitely sus here, and she's totally going to crack the case. A throat injury, what a shame. She murmurs softly, every single word dripping with hidden meaning. Cold sweat drenches my back while Olivia flies over to perch on my shoulder and gives my cheek a playful tap with her tail. You've seen him and stared your fill. So beat it already, rushing off because you're low-key terrified that I'll snatch up your precious Dragon Knight. Teases Serafina, don't you dare. Snaps back Olivia, puffing up instantly. Just messing with you, as Serafina shakes her head with a chuckle. You still can't take a joke, can you? Lifting off into the air, her body radiates a bright silver glow. I'm heading straight back to Silver Moon Peak now. You guys better hustle back to your fortress too. Giving me one final look, she pauses mid-air, wearing a half smile as she says, I'm seriously looking forward to our next hangout. Mr. Dragon Knight. Transforming into a brilliant streak of silver light, she vanishes completely into the open sky, releasing the longest, heaviest sigh of my entire life. My shirt is absolutely soaked through with sweat. Your Majesty, I whisper weakly. Is she always like that, like what? Like she can read your soul completely, yet deliberately chooses to keep her mouth shut. Silence stretches from Olivia for a brief moment, holding the sharpest senses of any dragon queen alive today. She's a staggering 5,000 years old, meaning she's 1,000 years older than me. Talk about a 5,000-year-old mastermind fox. My survival game just got a whole lot more chaotic. Let's bounce as Olivia rapidly expands to horse size, before the Bear King decides to show back up, with backup reinforcements. Riding through the dark night toward my stronghold, I scramble up on her back, tightly grip her horn bases, and we launch straight into the starry expanse. Stretching below us, the mountains roll out under the moonlight, allowing me to finally unwind and process everything that just went down. The Bear King, the Flying Swarm, and Seraphina all race through my head. Back when I genuinely thought this whole realm was just a game, filled with scripted NPCs. Yet tonight totally proved to me that everything is way deeper and way more twisted than I ever could have guessed. Long-standing beefs and hidden ties are everywhere, and I have barely even scratched the surface of these secrets. Blowing a heavy sigh, I remind myself to take it one step at a time, while my absolute main priority remains maxing out Olivia's affection level. Because honestly, everything else can totally wait for now. By break of day, we finally roll up to her dragon fortress, which is a menacing black obsidian castle carved right into a sheer cliff face, gleaming darkly under the pale morning rays. Thick waves of shadow energy shroud the entire place, so that any normal person would probably choke just stepping foot near it. Yet thanks to our magical bond, it surprisingly feels welcoming to me. Shifting her form back down to bird size, she perches right on my shoulder. As she announces, "We are here, this is my nest," with a voice sounding completely exhausted yet fiercely proud. Do not dare enter the main hall without getting my permission first. And keep your hands off my treasures, too. Do not. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Whatever you say, your majesty, you are literally the same proud little dragon queen as always. Stepping through the towering castle gates, I watched the very first beams of sunlight paint those coal-black stone walls in a brilliant wash of gold. A brand new chapter is officially unfolding, while far away across the horizon on Silver Moon Peak, Seraphina stands right at the windy cliff edge, with her eyes locked firmly on the Black Dragon Fortress. She murmurs my clumsy excuse right back to herself under her breath, muttering about throat injuries and voice problems, before a knowing, slightly amused smile spreads across her face as she whispers, "Interesting." A glowing silver dragon scale materializes right in her palm, projecting a hazy, shifting figure inside its surface. She muses aloud, "Let me see who you really are." Could it actually be him? Right before the silver light flares up and completely fades out, crossing past the protective barrier into the inner courtyard, my jaw hits the floor instantly. Space magic has clearly been used here because the interior is exponentially larger than the exterior. Polished black obsidian slabs form the towering walls, and vibrant purple magical veins pulse all through them, looking like glowing, living blood vessels, soaring dozens of meters straight up into the air. The magnificent ceiling is completely embedded with tiny shadow crystals, arranged to mimic a breathtaking night sky packed with stars, reigning over the absolute center of the Grand Hall. A massive black dragon throne rests there, expertly sculpted in the shape of a colossal, sleeping ancient dragon, while thick swirls of shadow mist billow around its base, like it is a living entity. Having never laid eyes on a proper Dragon Queen's palace before, I am low-key stunned. Alluvia flutters in wide circles right above my head, totally unapologetic about showing off her immense pride, as she personally leads the tour, strictly warning me never to lounge around on her throne, because the concentrated shadow, energy pooled that would literally melt a human's bones down to dust in under 30 minutes. My hand was already unconsciously reaching out to touch it right as she dropped that little warning. Gliding down a shadowy corridor, she guides me towards side room, announcing, "This is where your quarters will be." Measuring roughly 20 square meters, the space features a sturdy stone bed layered with thick, plush beast furs, a rugged stone table holding a simple clay pot and cup, alongside an empty, dust-covered bookshelf. It is pretty minimalistic, yet surprisingly cozy and used to be a storage room, until I clear it all out myself, so that the rest of my fortress stays spotless, you know? She quips, keeping her gaze averted elsewhere, while her tail twitches with nervous energy. Even though the chamber has clearly been given a deep clean, I decide to let it slide completely. I appreciate the trouble. Your Majesty. Umph. Right then, my eyes catch a glimpse of blood seeping from her left wing root, where a fresh gash has torn her scales backward, exposing the raw, tender pink flesh beneath. as dark golden droplets steadily splatter against the cold stone floor. Your Majesty, your wing is bleeding badly. It's no big deal, just some ancient wound acting up mid-flight. A natural dragon healing will patch it right up. Still, I distinctly heard those scales snap when that massive rock slammed into you earlier. So, come lie down and let me inspect it. Who do you think you are, giving orders to a literal dragon queen? Instantly, I soften my tone down. Please, your Majesty. Allow me to check that injury, I coax. She grumbles softly, yet glides down onto the fur bed to stretch out, hastily turning her face toward the blank stone wall. In a classic, I'm only doing this because arguing is too much work vibe. I press for the location of the medicine cabinet, while she attempts to brush off any treatment, though I counter that the tear is pulling right on her tendon, meaning if she leaves it unbandaged, the wound will only tear wider on her next flight. She has zero counterarguments left for that, so she quietly fills me in on where to grab the ointment and bandages, stashed inside her storage room, and I quickly fetch them, returning to find her frozen in the exact same spot with her wings sprawled wide, and her head stubbornly pointed away. I settle right beside her, pop open the ointment jar, and drop a low warning about a sting. Having survived 4,000 years of total warfare, swords and falling rocks, not to mention dragon fire, a tiny scratch like this could never. The moment my fingertip makes contact with her skin, her entire physique locks up tight, causing her wing to twitch before she forces herself to loosen up. Working deliberately slow, I smooth the cooling ointment along the frayed edges of the gash, gently working the salve into the tiny gaps between her scales, as my warm fingertips blend with the chill of the medicine. Though she keeps her face turned away the entire time, her tail completely gives away her inner turmoil by dragging across the stone floor and tracing wild, messy little circles that only spin faster and faster every single time I touch the injury. Yet, when my finger accidentally brushes an undamaged scale, nestled right near her wing root, her tail instantly freezes, snaps sideways, and then slowly creeps back into position, like nothing weird just happened, while the scales at the base of her neck begin shifting into a faint pink flush, resembling a drop of ink bleeding into clear water. Powerless to stop it, I feel the corner of my mouth twitch upward in a grin. What on earth are you smiling at? She shoots back without turning, though her voice sounds remarkably strained. I'm not smiling at all, I reply while instantly flattening out my expression, putting my absolute all into this bandaging task. Such a massive liar, she mutters under her breath, with hardly any strength left to put up a fight. As I finish wrapping up her wing, I double-check that the dressing is snug, yet leaves enough give for her to move freely. A gentle tap is given right to the crown of her head, resembling how someone would pet a tiny creature. She instantly freezes up like a statue. Who gave you permission to mess with my hair? Every dragon's head is completely off limits, dude. Ignoring her entirely, I act like nothing happened, and head toward the exit to put the medicine away, making my way back to stow the supplies. Lu-E, get your butt back here right now. This conversation is definitely not over yet. The wooden door is pulled shut behind my back. Inside that room, a mental image forms of her hiding her face in her paws, with pink flush scales, low-key venting to herself about. The sheer nerve of me touching her head and grounding her flight. Roughly an hour later, my stomach starts throwing a massive fit. The last real meal I had was some roasted boar meat, deep in the forest after the whole Bear King showdown. Between that crazy beast stampede and the grueling overnight run, every single calorie I consumed has totally burned away. Olivia is asked if there is any grub hidden in this fortress. One lazy eye opens up slowly to look at me. There is some stuff in the storage room over there. Go check it out yourself. Stepping inside immediately makes the reality clear to me. The shelves are arranged with insane neatness, featuring rows of magic cores sorted carefully by element and rank. Rare forging materials, glowing gems, and enchanted stones fill the space. They look gorgeous and high value, but totally inedible for any human. Not even a single speck of rice is in sight. 0 scraps of meat, and not 1 crumb of bread anywhere. Your Majesty, is it honestly expected of me as a human to somehow digest magic cores and jagged rocks as well? Do dragons actually feast on these things for dinner? Flying onto my shoulder, she casually licks her sharp claws and answers like I am the crazy one in this room. Pure elemental essence and dense mineral energy are what magic cores are packed with, obviously. They toughen up our tough scales, level up our bloodlines, and seriously boost cultivation. They are basically the ultimate dragon snacks. Your pathetic human bodies are just too weak to handle it. She adds with complete nonchalance. Matter-of-factly, you know. Over thousands of years of living all by herself. Not a single human has ever dropped by for a visit. So she literally never thought to stock up on human groceries. Placing the mineral back on the shelf, a heavy sigh escapes me. Stepping outside to hunt down some actual food is a must now. Out in the rugged valley behind the fortress walls, her casual grooming abruptly halts. Put her paw down firmly. She tries to look super dignified. Wild rabbits actually roam the valley behind the castle, along with a few low-tier herbivore beasts as well. Their meat should taste decent enough, I guess. Heading out to snag one right now, despite the pitch-black night. Even though beasts get super active and visibility is trash. A confident smile crosses my face as I march toward the door. We're just hunting some regular rabbits out here. We aren't raiding some overpowered Lord-class raid boss. Everything is going to be totally fine. Then the familiar flutter of tiny wings echoes right behind me. Spinning around reveals that she is already hovering ahead of my path. The second she catches me looking at her, she quickly snaps her head forward and starts talking fast. Without glancing back, she tells me not to get the wrong idea. This entire valley belongs exclusively to my territory. Look, I'm the only one who knows where beasts hide and traps lie. Just in case you wander off somewhere and trigger a mess. Energy would be entirely wasted on saving you. My role is simply to supervise, get it? The official hunting supervisor here. Stop making up random titles for me. Catching her luminous golden eyes glowing in the pitch black, I choke back a chuckle and say, "Thanks for tagging along. Your Majesty, let's be real. I didn't come for your sake." Such a total arrogant human. The valley tucked right behind the castle turns out to be way better than I thought, featuring sheer cliffs on both flanks. And a meandering stream flashing silver under the moonlight, plus dense brush where fresh rabbit tracks are already visible. Spotting an ideal location with an open view, I crouch down low, pull out my blade, and settle in a wait. A few minutes later, several grayish-brown rabbits suddenly peek out from the foliage, their twitching ears scanning the area for danger. Once they decide the coast is clear, they begin nibbling the grass. Turning toward Alluvia resting on my shoulder, I press a finger gently to my lips, tucking herself down tight against my shoulder. Alluvia silently watches my every move as I make my move, launching my short blade crafted from Shadow Panther fangs. I take down a pair of rabbits with 2 flawless throws. Fluttering over to inspect the catch, she delivers her verdict. Acceptable, which, coming from her, is basically high praise. Perching on a nearby boulder, she observes me field dress and prep the meat. Her intense golden eyes track my every single motion, while her tail taps out a subtle little rhythm against the stone. Caught in the act of staring at me, she instantly snaps her gaze away toward the scenery. An evaluation of human hunting techniques was underway, and I certainly was not watching you specifically. Sure thing. Back at the castle grounds, I construct a compact stone fire pit out on the open platform. The rabbit meat is soon sizzling away above the open flames, dripping fat into the glowing coals to kick up showers of sparks, and release an incredible aroma carried off by the night breeze. Sitting on a rock 2 meters away with her eyes firmly shut, Alluvia acts like a proper, meditating dragon queen, except her little nostrils keep twitching relentlessly as she tracks the scent she is trying so hard to ignore. Pulling out a tiny pouch of coarse salt I scavenged from wild plants deeper in the forest, I dust it generously over the crispy, golden skin. Melting right into the meat, the salt doubles the mouth-watering aroma. Her little nostrils start twitching even faster. Tearing off a leg, I extend it toward her with an offer. "Want to try some, Your Majesty?" Opening her eyes slowly, she looks at the steaming meat, glares at me, and tosses her head away. The flesh of low-class creatures is not consumed by me. Such crude food has no place in a proper dragon's diet. Really? Suit yourself. More for me then. Biting into the meat, I let out a thoroughly satisfied groan. Crispy on the outside while remaining ultra-juicy inside. The rich fat melts across my tongue with just a subtle hint of salt. If only I had some cumin and chili powder handy. This would be absolute perfection, along with an ice-cold beer. Her tail tip gives a sharp twitch. Continuing to eat, I make just enough happy, appreciative noises. The gusting wind keeps drifting that rich scent straight her way, causing her tail to flick back and forth faster and faster. Then a tiny, muffled sound breaks the silence. A soft gurgle coming straight from her direction. Slowing down, I turn my head to find her sitting stock still, gazing majestically off toward the distant mountains, as though that embarrassing noise had nothing to do with her at all, except her sharp claws are digging deep into the rock. The marks are literally left behind from how intense it was. Hey, wait up, let me grab a bite of that. I thought you claimed you never eat this kind of grub. She snaps, looking super flustered, saying I am doing you a massive favor. You spent ages grinding away in the kitchen. It would honestly be low-key rude if I skipped tasting at least one bite. I am totally being considerate of your feelings here, so do not be so ungrateful about it. Another leg is torn right off by my hands and handed over. My sincere thanks for the supreme honor, Your Majesty. Taking it delicately, she gives it a sniff, takes a bite, and starts chewing. A swallow follows right after. Total silence fills the air, though I can totally read it written all over her face. Pure bliss squeezes her eyes half shut. For thousands of years, this marks the absolute first time. Cooked and seasoned meat has touched her palate. Spices are never used by dragons at all. Anything quite like salt on roasted food has never once been experienced by her before. So, is it actually good? I ask, catching herself quickly. She forces her expression back into neutral, muttering that it is merely edible, right before devouring the entire leg at a pace that totally shatters the definition of edible. Once every last bit is gone, she licks the grease clean from her lips, then realizes that was not very queenly behavior, immediately slapping on a deadpan face as if nothing out of the ordinary just happened. More is offered up by me, asking if she wants another piece. Half a second of hesitation passes by. Since your invitation is surprisingly sincere, one more favor will be done for you tonight, she declares. 4 favors in total end up being done for me. A glance is cast at the pile of bare bones, then shifted to the half-empty roasting rack, and finally landed on the tiny black dragon, who is casually grooming her claws, acting like she barely touched a single bite. A brand new note gets jotted down in my mental file. The black dragon queen Loki is obsessed with roasted meat, though she will literally take it to the grave, late at night following a hot spring soak, and a fresh change of clean clothes, which Olivia somehow tracked down for me. My body stretches out on the fur-covered stone bed. What a wildly chaotic day it has been. The Bear King, the Flying Beast Army, the Silver Dragon Queen, and an overnight flight. My eyes drift shut for some sleep until tiny claws tapping on stone outside my door break the silence as it swings slightly open. Peeking inside, a small black dragon head asks if I'm asleep yet. Not quite. What is up, Your Majesty? Hopping onto the stone stool across from my bed, she wraps her tail neatly around herself and settles right in like she plans on hanging out for a while. Seraphina was giving you some majorly weird looks today, and not the kind of look you normally give a complete stranger, causing my heart to skip a beat. My expression stays totally chill as I suggest maybe she was just curious about the whole Dragon Knight thing. Curiosity had nothing to do with it, her voice states firmly. Having known her for thousands of years, I know for a fact she never looks at anyone that way. Spilling the absolute truth to her is definitely not an option. Hey, I once spent 2 whole months winning your bestie's heart, only to completely ghost her when scoring a Dragon Knight class failed from her end, because that would get me instantly vaporized on the spot. So a half-truth is what I go with. Dragon territories were visited by me back during my adventuring days, meaning our paths might have crossed once, though someone of her legendary status would never. Recall some random, everyday human. Tapping her tail against the floor in deep thought, she responds. That actually makes total sense, I guess. Yet she mentioned wanting to hang out again. That is literally just basic small talk, akin to mortals saying we should grab dinner sometime. Not a single person actually means it as her tail stops twitching. Those golden eyes fixate directly on me, and her vocal tone shifts into an awkwardness I have never witnessed before. If you run into her once more, would you pack up and leave with her? I am totally caught off guard. Before flashing a grin. Your Majesty, we literally share a life and death contract. If you survive, I survive. How could I possibly take off with anybody else? Her ear scales turn a faint pink as she glances away. I was low-key, just worried that you would get exposed regarding our contract terms and become the laughingstock. I honestly could not care less whether you leave or stay. Sure you do, Your Majesty. What is up with that tone? There is zero tone. There is definitely a tone. Back and forth we bicker, until she lashes my arm with her tail, pushes off the stool, and strides toward the exit. Go get some shut-eye. Crucial things await us tomorrow morning, like what you'll find out when the right moment arrives. She vanishes down the dim hallway. Leaning back, I pull up the system panel. Her affection sits at 55. The update states she has started minding how I behave around other female dragons. She has yet to put a label on this emotion, yet her instincts are already blaring alarms. With affection and jealousy spiking together, this dragon ruler does not even realize whose jealousy she is experiencing. Closing the interface, I flip over and begin to unwind. Then a soft voice echoes from behind. So, why was your pulse racing so insanely fast? Upon laying eyes on Seraphina, I freeze up completely. Slowly, I turn around. Olivia is perched atop a cabinet near the doorway. Those golden eyes locked onto me like a hungry hunter. Something fell off, so I turned back. Were you lying to my face? Our soul link tipped me off the exact second your heartbeat spiked the moment you saw her. Staring up at the ceiling, I curse myself for forgetting the soul link. She can literally feel my pulse. She felt it accelerate the instant I recognized Seraphina. I am so cooked while I lie here in the Dragon Fortress, dealing with Olivia's interrogation about Seraphina. 1,000 miles away in the capital, my family is absorbing the breaking news. Situated right at the heart of the continent lies the holy capital of the human empire, encircled by massive, heavily enchanted fortifications. Strict social stratification defines life within its borders, encompassing the royal palace, the noble district, the bustling commoner markets, and the outer mercenary sector. Occupying the absolute center of the noble district is our family estate, the Violet Duke's Mansion, recognized as the largest and most prestigious property around. Its masonry walls are draped in rich purple, violet vines that blossom throughout the entire year, infused thoroughly with our ancestral family magic. An intense tension grips the entire household this morning. Servants tiptoe carefully while guards exchange whispers. Not a single soul dares make a sound as my father, Duke Raymond, settles into his intricately carved chair. Shining silver clasps catch the faint candlelight, as his weathered, noble face remains frozen like stone. Clutched tightly in his hand is a military brief that arrived right at dawn. Over 10 times, he has already scanned through it. The dispatch states that Duke Raymond's younger son, Luo, was snatched away by the ancient Black Dragon during the final phase of the dragon-slaying battle, down at Eternal Night Rift, leaving his whereabouts a total mystery. His current survival status remains completely up in the air. My old man sees right through the total BS that the gold-armored commander wrote down. This paperwork was purely made to cover up the army's massive L. Thousands of elite fighters couldn't even take down one wounded Dragon Queen. So now, they desperately need a fall guy. Since I am nowhere near to defend myself, I've basically become the ultimate scapegoat. A decade back flashes instantly into his mind. I was just an 8-year-old kid, short and scrawny, standing right by our mansion's grand front gate, with an oversized backpack, stuffed to the brim with dry rations and survival gear. Gazing up at him, I declared, "Father, I'm walking out in the capital to see the world." With a chuckle, he simply patted my head. "Once you're older and bulkier, you can head wherever you like by the next morning." My bedroom was empty, featuring only a note left on the desk. "I've gone off to adventure, so please don't sweat it. I'm going to turn into the ultimate trailblazer." Signed Luo E., an 8-year-old with 0 guards and 0 cash, surviving solo in a realm crawling with beasts. My old man stared at that single note for a remarkably long time. Yet he didn't send a single soul to track me down as the second son. I owed no duty to inherit the title, and he already knew back then that a kid capable of slipping past every single estate guard without being spotted wasn't someone who would kick the bucket easily. 10 years flew by. I barely ever came back home, sending instead brief dispatches through the Adventurers Guild network, occasionally enclosing a rare monster scale or a glowing magic core inside the envelope, never dropping hints of my location or what perils I faced, just simple proof that I was still breathing. Right now, my father is handing the dossier over to my mother. She remains gentle, graceful, and stunning, even in her 40s, though she has worried sick about me every single day for a full decade. She reads barely 2 lines before her fingers crumple the parchment. Her lips drain of color while her eyes turn bloodshot. She clasps a hand over her mouth to choke back her sobbing. "That little menace," she whispers with a trembling voice. "He sneaked out of the house at just 8 years old, claiming he wanted to go discover the world. For 10 years I assumed he had already perished out there somewhere. And now they're telling me a dragon snatched him up, with his fate unknown, while I am trapped right here in the Dragon Fortress. 1,000 miles away, major events are unfolding. that I am completely clueless about. My old man, Duke Raymond, remains seated inside the main hall of our family estate, reading through the military report repeatedly because he's nobody's fool. Every single hidden implication is crystal clear to him. The dispatch claims the Black Dragon abducted me, leaving status ambiguous, but he knows the Army's protocol inside out. Had they actually recovered a corpse, they would have stamped it killed in action instead of writing. That survival status remains uncertain. That implies my whereabouts remain completely unknown to them while proving I'm somehow still kicking. Yet the official briefing also paints me as a total traitor who sided with the beast, actively obstructing the military's pursuit and assisting the Black Dragon Queen in pulling off her escape. Those ominous allegations of conspiring with Dragonkind spell an absolute death sentence for our entire bloodline. Within the Empire, getting mixed up with dragons is the ultimate felony, more than enough to obliterate a 600-year-old aristocratic dynasty. My father smashes his heavy fist onto the hardwood surface, causing the porcelain teacups to violently jump. What on earth could that kid have done to catch a dragon's eye? The aging butler chimes in, noting that battlefield eyewitnesses are secretly whispering that I approached the black beast entirely of my own accord, and might have been colluding with dragons behind the scenes. For a very long time, utter garbage, my father roars in fury. He walked out on this family at 8 years old, meaning he doesn't know the first thing about court politics, or the deep-seated friction between humans and dragons. This is just the military command, making my son a scapegoat to cover up their own massive blunder. He's furious, yet terrifyingly sharp, realizing the king could easily weaponize these rumors to strip our house of every last asset. My mother sits in heavy silence, her bloodshot eyes staring down as she crushes the crumpled dossier in her trembling grip. There's only one thing I desperately need to figure out. Is our boy actually breathing? My father fails to come up with an answer, instantly deploying every underground spy, every hidden contact, and every merchant syndicate under family control to dig deep and uncover the absolute truth of what went down at the Eternal Night Rift, sparing zero expense. Meanwhile, over on the opposite side of the palace, inside a sun-drenched parlor overflowing with fresh white roses, Princess Elena is being briefed on the exact same intelligence. She's around 17 or 18, radiating a golden-haired, porcelain-skinned brand of flawless elegance. Though beneath that polished royal facade, she's profoundly cold and aloof, utterly bored by high society galas and political theater. Upon hearing her personal maid whisper that I've been snatched by a dragon and am likely sleeping with the fishes, the princess freezes in place for a split second, before a triumphant smirk tugs upward at the edge of her lips. She catches herself right away, masking the slip-up, swiftly twisting her features into a picture of graceful grief, while delivering a textbook line of royal sympathy. How incredibly tragic. Young Lord Luo, he held such promise. What an absolute tragedy of a fate. Yet hidden behind the delicate teacup raised to her mouth, her eyes are literally glowing with barely suppressed euphoria. Ever since the day she drew her first breath, the sovereign had locked down a binding marriage contract, tying her destiny to mine as the second-born son of the Violet Duke. She's carried the burden of being labeled my fiancé her whole existence without ever getting a vote in the matter. And now she assumes that invisible chain has finally snapped for good. Back over in the capital district, there happens to be someone else processing intelligence about me. Princess Elena, who holds the title of my intended, even though we've never crossed paths, given that the king and my old man engineered this betrothal long before she was even old enough to comprehend what a marriage even meant. She has despised this setup her entire life at age 10. She shattered an expensive crystal vase upon finding out about it. At 12, she went so far as to flip a heavy dining table when fellow aristocratic girls dared mock her for being hitched to a worthless good-for-nothing. At 13, she locked herself away in her bedchambers for an entire day, refusing all food the moment the crown publicly broadcasted the engagement. At age 14, breaking things off was completely off the table. Exhausted from fighting back, she went completely numb inside. For years, she acted like I never existed in the entire elite noble circle, learned never to drop my name around her. But now, upon hearing from her maid that a dragon snatched me away, and I'm most likely toast, she can't stop grinning ear to ear. Putting on a fake sad face, she spits out the standard sympathetic lines, while her feet are low-key tap dancing across the expensive rug. She digs out the marriage papers from her drawer and dives straight into reviewing the annulment steps. Every single tedious legal clause looks gorgeous in her eyes today because each one brings her closer to total freedom. Dispatching a condolence gift over to my folks is her next move. As she sips her tea, feeling like life has seriously never tasted this good. She has zero clue that her supposedly dead fiancé is actually chilling with a dragon queen right now. And sooner rather than later, I'm going to show back up in a way she never saw coming. Meanwhile, back inside the dragon fortress, I'm parked on the side of my bed, sweating bullets under Olivia's intense grilling. Planted on the stone stool right across from me, her tiny frame sits dead straight, while those golden eyes stare straight through me without a single blink. So you're trying to claim your pulse went crazy upon spotting Seraphina purely out of nervousness, because it was your first time meeting a powerful ancient dragon? Spot on, I reply, keeping my expression totally chill and honest. Just pure awe and jittery nerves. Nothing more. Her tail taps against the stone in a slow, rhythmic beat, before she immediately goes for the weak spot. You argue that encountering another dragon queen makes you anxious. Fine, but back at the canyon when an entire enemy army's assault was crashing down on us and you were staring death in the face, you sprinted straight in my direction, blocked me with your own body, and locked in a life-or-death contract without a second thought. You sure weren't feeling nervous then, huh? I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. Recovering quickly, I attempt a much longer excuse. I was totally stressed out in the canyon too, I tell her, surrounded by thousands of soldiers, legendary mages, and certain doom. So naturally my heart was hammering, but meeting an actual, breathing legendary dragon queen face to face, that hits you with a totally different kind of shock, kind of like a normal guy, suddenly running into a mythical beast in real life. With pure excitement, awe, and jitters all mixed into one, a racing pulse, is just a completely natural physical reaction to that. She weighs this explanation for a long moment. That's not totally unbelievable. I guess you barely scraped by, causing me to let out a breath, though I still feel like you're holding back the truth. My chest instantly tightens again, lacking any real proof. She continues with golden eyes full of serious suspicion, but my gut instincts are screaming that something's going on between you and Seraphina, that you're keeping from me. Before I can even object, she's already up on her feet. Whatever. If you don't care to spill, I'm not going to force it out of you. Just keep in mind that Seraphina isn't someone you can easily trick. Having lived for 5,000 years, she has witnessed way more schemes than humans have ever eaten grains of salt. Whatever secrets you're keeping from her, she's bound to uncover sooner or later, and with that, she hops off the stool and heads toward the exit without sparing a single glance back. I'm hitting the hay now, so you better get some shut-eye too. You better not be playing me with any lies though. Vanishing past the doorframe, her sleek black tail leaves nothing behind, as the soft echo of her footsteps totally dies down, stretching out across the dragon fortress. I try to catch some sleep right after barely surviving that brutal grilling from Olivia, clueless about whatever is going down over at Silver Moon Peak, way up north across the continent, though honestly, if I knew, it would freak me out way more than any in-game boss monster. Standing totally isolated at the edge of her glowing crystal palace, constructed entirely from pure moonstone and weathered silver dragon scales, Seraphina gazes out over a boundless ocean of clouds, while clutched tightly in her palm is a special dragon scale, functioning basically like a high-tech video recording device for ancient memories, playing back a younger version of me from years ago. That exact day remains crystal clear in my head, having spent weeks smashed through endless layers of heavy magical barriers, guarding the sacred Silver Moon Peak, while hiking up the holy mountain completely on foot and by myself, until finally hitting the summit, where I dropped to one knee before the Silver Dragon Queen, and spilled out the speech I had practiced forever. I want to become your Dragon Knight, catching her totally off guard since not a single soul had dared ask a Dragon Queen for a partnership contract in over 3,000 years. She later confessed that it was actually the intense fire burning in my eyes that got to her, ignoring my raw strength, which meant nothing to a deity, and respecting my pure grit instead, though she didn't instantly say yes, claiming she needed a minute to process everything, because binding souls together wasn't a choice to be made lightly, which my brain translated for my need time to consider, straight into a polite rejection, making me nod, drop a quick sorry for the hassle, push myself back up, and walk away without ever glancing back, unaware at the time that I need to think about it didn't equate to a hard no at all, since she actually wanted to test my resolve first. to prove if I was actually worthy, fully expecting me to roll back up in a few days, only for me to never return. As days bled into weeks, turning into a month, and eventually half a year, driving her to deploy squads of silver dragons to hunt me down, though using a fake alias like Xiao Yin back then, meant nothing since dozens of random adventurers across the map shared that exact name, leaving 0 matches as I vanished completely like smoke. For 5 millennia, such disrespect was entirely unprecedented in her long life, ruling as the mighty Silver Dragon Queen, where everyone else begged for crumbs of her attention, only for this random human kid to propose the most sacred pact imaginable, and immediately ghost her, before she could even formulate a proper reply, leaving a massive scar on her ego that refused to heal over time. Until now, years later, where her close friend Olivia, easily the proudest dragon queen alive, has gone ahead and locked in a Dragon Knight contract, with a mysterious knight rocking a hidden mask and a disguised voice, going by the name of Sure How, while Seraphina stares hard at the projection inside her dragon scale, noticing how the masked man's physique matches about 80% of the kid burned into her memory, while his eyes, the only visible feature left uncovered, feature the exact same shape and color, along with that familiar nervous habit of squinting, just a fraction when sizing someone up, leaving the voice as the solitary mismatch, since the boy she once knew carried a clean, warm, youthful tone, whereas Sure How spoke with a rough, shattered rasp, like a person battling a wrecked vocal cord. Yet she is well aware that if that kid ever came back under the radar, disguising his voice would totally be his go-to first play. Throat trauma and vocal struggles, she murmurs softly to herself, her grin stretching wider as things get seriously interesting on Silver Moon Peak. Seraphina is pulling all the puzzle pieces together now. She figures that any guy who covers his face and alters his voice when greeting another dragon queen must be keeping a sketchy secret, or dodging someone he actually knows, meaning that panic she caught flashing in my eyes was never just the caution of meeting a total stranger. It was pure guilt from bumping into someone I low-key hoped to never see again. She picks up on something else as well. Those fake aliases I used back in the day, like Xiao Yin and then Sure How, actually form a total pattern that she finds low-key hilarious. She has no clue why I threw on a disguise, or acted like I didn't know her, though she's got all the time in the world, knowing full well I can't keep this act up forever. Eventually I'm going to slip up, and the moment I do, she plans to drop that one question that has been bugging her for years. Why on earth did I bail so fast back at the fortress, staring blankly at the ceiling from my bed? The entire reality of my mess finally crashes down on me. That soul link is something I totally blanked on. Our life and death contract physically binds our souls together, both ways, meaning Olivia can feel my real-time heartbeat, and she definitely felt it spike the exact second I spotted Seraphina. She can easily tell the difference between sheer terror and any other kind of adrenaline rush. She can sense precisely when and why my pulse starts racing. Sure, I can fake my facial expressions and control my words, but my heartbeat is impossible to fake. Burying my face straight into my pillow, I let out a groan. I really should have been way more careful back when I was chasing Seraphina years ago. No, wait. I honestly never should have gone around trying to romance every gorgeous female character across the whole continent in the first place. Regrets aren't going to save me now, though. I'm going to need a solid game plan since Olivia is suspicious with 0 proof. Even so, her killer instincts are razor sharp, and she has known Seraphina for thousands of years. Meanwhile, on the flip side, Seraphina has almost certainly figured out who I am, and is choosing to keep quiet about it for now, just sitting back to see how long I can keep up this charade. Flashing open my system panel, I see my stats have hit level 15. Affection with Olivia sitting comfortably at 55, and dragon power usage ticking at 20%. Yet right down at the bottom of the display, a fresh warning flashes in bright red. High danger alert. Multiple cross-species bonds detected. Dragon interpersonal conflict rapidly escalating. Dual dragon queen bonds on a direct collision course. Massive probability of identity exposure and contract rupture. Plus a dragon queen showdown leading to all-out cross-faction war. Proceed with extreme caution. Pulling the blanket completely over my head, I decide that when in doubt, just go to sleep. This game is getting way too intense. So why are all these female characters so utterly impossible to handle? As the next morning breaks over Silver Moon Peak, Seraphina finally makes her definitive call, summoning a silver dragon attendant, she announces with cool composure. Get my belongings ready, because I am paying a visit to the eternal night dragon fortress. Shock ripples right through the attendant after 5 millennia of history. The silver dragon monarch has never once voluntarily set foot in black dragon territory. A tense mutual coldness is all the silver and black dragon clans share. Olivia always sought her out whenever conflict arose, never doing the reverse. Desperately, the attendant tries stopping her. Olivia is bleeding out and super paranoid right now, so an uninvited visit could totally spark an all-out war between both clans. Serafina pivots around slowly, morning light catching her silver eyes as a sly smile forms, while beneath that polished exterior lurks something razor-sharp and scheming. I'm simply dropping by Olivia's place to check on her injuries. Post-battle, which sounds totally reasonable, she pauses, letting the tense silence linger. Plus, while I am there, I want to see for myself what kind of human dragon knight managed to make the proudest, most man-hating dragon queen in history willingly bind her soul and keep him under her personal wing. Over at Silver Moon Peak, Serafina starts plotting her trap. She inspects the stored memory inside her dragon. Scale one more time. The masked man's posture, his casual shoulder habits, and his exact standing stance all mirror almost perfectly that boy who approached her years ago. The lazy alias, Xiao Yan, and Chu Hao follow that exact same sloppy naming style, following the same sloppy blueprint, meaning it is the same guy. Stepping into her private vault, she retrieves a crystal vial wrapped up tightly in silver dragon thread, holding precious moonlight nectar, the ultimate healing elixir belonging to the silver dragon race. Brewing it takes a full 50 years, leaving even dragon elders barely able to secure any, while outsiders have never laid hands on a single drop. Her game plan is brilliantly straightforward. Her dear Dragon Knight friend claims to be suffering from a throat injury, correct? So she will bring this medicine as a generous gift, capable of curing any throat trauma flawlessly. If he takes it, his voice will bounce right back, exposing his real tone to her ears. Should he choose to refuse it, that totally proves his injury was fake all along. Either way, she secures the W, tucking the bottle neatly into a small wooden gift box. She flashes a grin, whispering, "Are you ready for me?" Meanwhile, my entire night gets ruined by a relentless string of nightmares within the dreamscape. Serafina rips my mask right off in front of Olivia, spilling every single secret as both dragon queens corner me, their oppressive aura crushing me from both sides, demanding answers. Then more familiar faces pop up back to back, featuring all those girls I chased all over the continent, boxing me in while asking the exact same heartbreaking question. You swore I was the only one. Sweat is dripping all over me as I jolt awake, lying frozen there for 3 solid minutes, gazing at the ceiling, trying to calm my racing heartbeat. This mess is completely unwinnable. Chasing every single gorgeous character across this continent was a massive mistake. This game's difficulty curve is straight up toxic. Still, wallowing in regret fixes nothing, so I need a game plan. Olivia wasn't buying my sketchy excuse last night at all. Rather than waiting for her to grill me until I totally break down, I make the first move to drop a minor, harmless slice of truth, just enough to chill her out. After freshening up, I slip into the clean dark garments she left out for me, which feature subtle black dragon patterns, and head toward the main hall. Olivia is completely curled up atop the dragon throne sculpture, while soaking in the morning sun, her tiny wings fanned out like miniature blackhand fans to catch the warmth. Her long tail dangles loosely over the stone edge, swaying back and forth. She honestly looks like a lazy black cat sunbathing. There is zero vibe here of a terrifying abyss ruler, so I softly clear my throat. Your Majesty, I want to talk about last night. One golden eye cracks open lazily while the other stays firmly shut in sleep. Talk about what? I take a deep breath to launch into my rehearsed speech, and suddenly the sky gets ripped wide open. A massive wave of magical energy sweeps across the fortress grounds, crisp, freezing, and blindingly bright like moonlight, standing in total contrast to the heavy, dark shadow magic of this place. Someone is blazing through our outer barrier, at warp speed and heading straight for us. There's no hostile intent, but the sheer power is overwhelming. Every single hair on my arms stands straight up. I instantly recognize this chilling signature, cool as moonlight and sharp as ice water. Serafina has arrived. The second that silver aura hits the air, Olivia snaps, wide awake, on her throne. All traces of sleep vanish as she launches off the sculpture, lands squarely on my shoulder, and loops her tail around my neck. It's not tight enough to choke me, but the message is loud and clear, mine. Seraphina? What's she doing here? Olivia hisses under her breath. Silver dragons have nothing better to do, I reply while stroking her back gently. Maybe she's just passing through. Passing through? From Silver Moon Peak all the way here? Does she take me for a 3-year-old hatchling? Fair point, because I don't believe that excuse either. A polite, rhythmic tap of magical energy echoes against the outer shield. Grudgingly, Olivia opens up a narrow passage, leaving just enough room for one guest with zero entourage allowed. Together, we walk out to greet her. There she stands on a landing platform in a silver-white robe, her moonlight hair drifting gracefully in the morning breeze. She carries a compact wooden gift box in her hand, with the sunrise glowing brightly behind her frame. She looks like a literal goddess stepping down from the moon. It's obvious she put some serious extra effort into her look today. Flawlessly curled hair, a shiny silver brooch pinned to her collar, and even a faint, glossy shimmer on her lips. Every single alarm bell in my brain starts blaring at once. We meet again, Mr. Dragon Knight. She greets us with an elegant smile before pivoting toward Olivia. Not going to welcome me? Nope. Go home. Olivia shoots back flatly. Then I guess I'm definitely staying. Seraphina strides right past us straight into the main hall, as if she owns the joint. Her flowing silver hair brushes right against me, leaving behind a trail of refreshing floral perfume. Olivia and I quickly exchange a look. Her eyes scream, what does she even want? While mine reply, I haven't got the foggiest idea. She narrows her gaze. You better really not know. I blink back, completely innocently. I swear on my life, I don't. Meanwhile, Seraphina casually admires the hall, critiques the lighting, and then plops down onto a stone bench to pop open her gift box. Resting gently upon a bed of silver silk lies a crystal vial brimming with a glowing silver liquid that swirls around like it is totally alive. Even with the cap firmly sealed, a sweet fragrance instantly takes over the entire hall. Moonlight nectar, she announces out loud, crafted from a rare bloom that only opens once every 300 years, and blended with ancient silver dragon scale powder. Having brewed for over 50 years, it works wonders on old injuries, especially. She pauses briefly, while fixing her playful silver eyes straight onto me. For throat damage. Would you care to sample some right now, Mr. Dragon Knight? Cold sweat breaks out across my back in a flash. She is definitely not dropping this subject. If I drink it and my voice fails to change at all, my fake injury is totally busted. If I turn down a priceless medicine without a solid excuse, that looks just as shady. From the corner of my eye, I notice Olivia's tail tracing slow, in erratic circles against the cold stone floor. Her expression remains ice cold and impossible to read. Yet all those hidden emotions are pouring straight into that tail. Keeping my expression completely neutral is my top priority. Thank you so much for your kindness. But my throat injury has been recovering quite well these past few days, and it is nearly cured. I would hate to waste such a precious medicine. Is that so? Seraphina tilts her head sideways, her smile widening as she refuses to back down an inch. Yet your voice was still super hoarse just last night, and now it is magically healed overnight. You really ought to try at least a drop. The healing effects are insane. It completely stops any lingering damage. Truly, I do not need it, I must insist. Seraphina lets out a sigh and sets the box down on the table. Then I will just leave it right here for whenever you need it. Before I can even catch my breath, Olivia launches off her perch, drops onto the table, and snatches up the box like she's confiscating enemy contraband dragon medicine of completely unknown origin. I'm going to inspect this for poison and curses first. Seraphina just flashes a smile while staying paranoid about everything. I see especially paranoid about you. Olivia snaps right back. They trade a few more verbal jabs, until Seraphina drops a detail. That cracks Olivia's defenses just a tiny bit. Years ago, back when Olivia took a bad hit on the Abyss battlefield, it was Seraphina herself who sent over a jar of moonlight nectar to heal her. Olivia's tail freezes right in the middle of a swing, and her overall hostility drops a fraction. Ancient history, she murmurs with zero reason to bring it up. Suddenly I am trapped standing between two dragon queens, where the heavy air feels ready to shatter. Golden eyes glare from my left. Silver eyes pierce from my right, with both gazes locked on me. Seraphina asks if she might stay a while to look around. Before I can reply, Olivia speaks up to say he minds. Ignoring that, Serafina turns and asks me directly. I glance nervously at Olivia, whose thrashing tail is screaming. Say yes, and you die, then back at Serafina, who looks completely confident, as if she already knows what my choice will be. I will follow my queen's decision, I state very carefully. Olivia's tail curls with absolute satisfaction. With practiced compliance, Serafina arches a single brow. Yet she lingers anyway, strangely enough. Every corner of the hall gets scrutinized as she paces around, nitpicking historical layouts, faulty crystal angles, and poor illumination. Olivia finally reaches her breaking point. Did you drop by just to host a home Reno assessment? Serafina then asks for my name again, acting like she totally forgot. Knowing damn well she remembers, I repeat it anyway. She rolls the syllables around slowly, calling it a super powerful name. The way she spits it out makes my skin crawl low-key. Her actual game plan finally starts. The medical kit gets slid right back toward my direction. Are you totally sure you won't give it a shot? It works wonders for throat injuries before I can even refuse. Fluidly rising up, she shoves the box closer to my fingertips. And right as her hand pulls back, her fingertips brush against the back of my hand. That fleeting touch feels softer than moonbeams, vanishing in less than a single second. My pulse skips a beat before hammering like a war drum. Honestly, it is not my fault. Any mortal would react to sudden physical contact. It is just pure muscle reflex. Alas, the Soul Link does not care about lame excuses. It streams my spiking heart rate straight to Olivia. In live feed format, the indoor temperature plummets instantly. Right behind my back, a faint, horrifying sound echoes out as dragon claws grind slowly against solid stone. Turning around is out of the question. According to the system, Olivia's affection just hit 57, while her jealousy levels are completely off the charts. A 3-centimeter deep trench has been carved into the stone floor by her claws, and the system warns that room chill has dropped below safe thresholds, strongly advising immediate calming steps before triggering dual dragon battlefield mode. Stiffly, I accept the box. Much obliged, Silver Dragon Queen. You are very welcome. Serafina resumes her seat with absolute poise, though deep within her silver eyes a flash of pure triumph gleams before the system. Flashes a data log that makes my blood run cold. Serafina's affection rises from 40 to 50, noting, touch test highly successful, target confirmed. To exhibit clear physical reactions to her proximity. Accelerated pulse, erratic breathing, and pupil dilation. Suspicion from a Silver Dragon Queen has reached critical mass. Sandwiched between two ancient dragon queens is my current fate. One is my contract partner whose raging jealousy is literally gouging out trenches in stone. The other is a 5,000-year-old huntress who just verified my physical reaction to her touch and feels more convinced than ever that I'm a guy who ghosted her centuries ago. Noon rolls around without a single hint of Serafina departing, lounging on the stone bench as if she owns the place. She looks utterly chill inside a fortress, belonging to her rival of several millennia. Up on her throne, Olivia is fuming mad, shooting death glare lasers at me every few seconds, all translating to the exact same demand: get rid of her. Glancing back is impossible. Kicking out the woman holding all my secrets is a no-go. And ticking off the Dragon Queen, who is literally tracking my heartbeat, is suicide. Trapped between two absolute impossibilities am I. Finally reaching her breaking point, Olivia demands to know when she is leaving. With nobody wanting her around, what is the rush to stay? Serafina stirs her tea in a slow, lazy circle, allowing her to stay for lunch as requested, seeing as breakfast was skipped. Before Olivia manages to refuse, I quickly step into the conversation. I will head over to cook up some food. Anything works to escape this suffocating, tense standoff. A glint of surprise flashes across Serafina's eyes as she turns to me. You can cook now? She asks, dropping that specific word. It sounds as if she knew me back when cooking was impossible for me. Speed walking toward the exit has already begun for me. Just a little, I mutter, fleeing the hall while she sits high on her throne. Catching that exact word too, Olivia tilts her head in question. Why would the Silver Dragon Queen use the word now? It is as if she already possessed knowledge of his past cooking skills. Such a strange word choice hangs in the air. A hard shake of her head sends her tail slamming against the stone twice. No, that is completely impossible. Serafina is merely acting like her usual, prickly self. Recognizing some random human could never happen to her. Any connection between them is totally non-existent. What on earth are you thinking about? Serafina calls up to her with a sweet tone. Mind your own business, Olivia fires back instantly. Yet somewhere deep inside, an uneasy feeling starts to itch. Pushing the thought down, she shakes it off. Stepping outside into the open valley air, I take a deep breath of the fresh breeze. That sense of relief lasts for literally 1 second. Then Olivia's voice blasts straight through our soul link. You claimed your racing heartbeat around Dragon Queens came from pure awe, brushed off as normal, respectful nervousness. So explain why your pulse completely lost its rhythm. The moment she barely brushed your hand. Answer me. I spear. A fat rabbit by the stream with one clean thrust, while wincing internally. Answer me, you absolute idiot knight. She touched the back of your hand, and your heart went wild like you just aggroed a raid boss. Explain yourself. Crouching down to skin the rabbit, I scrambled desperately for an excuse. Your Majesty, when human skin makes sudden contact with a freezing surface, the nervous system automatically triggers an involuntary stress response. Right? That irregular heartbeat is purely a physical reflex, meaning, so what you're trying to say. She cuts in, her voice dropping a degree colder, is that my body temperature is running way too hot, making you prefer her because she is colder? You're seriously into cold chicks now? My knife stops mid-cut. What kind of wild logic is that? Surrendering with a heavy sigh, I soften my tone. Your Majesty, your body temperature is always absolute perfection. 10 silver dragon queens could never measure up to even one of you. 2 seconds of dead silence echo through the link before muffled. Nasal humph comes through. Whether her anger is actually fading or building is impossible to tell. Letting out a long breath, I hurry up to finish preparing the rabbit, dreading the absolute minefield waiting for me back inside. Curled up on her throne inside the main hall, Olivia sits, with her tail slowly swishing while she stares intently at her crossed claws. Something about what I just said feels a bit off, though she cannot quite figure out what it is. Is that idiot dragon knight actually flirting with me? She wonders before shaking her head. Whatever the case, he cannot run away from this. An intense interrogation awaits him the moment he returns, returning with 2 skinned rabbits and a handful of wild herbs. I find the outdoor stone grill already blazing hot. The meat gets threaded carefully onto iron skewers. A generous pinch of my signature mineral salt goes on top, as fat sizzles down into the glowing embers. A savory cloud of roasted meat and fresh herbs begins wrapping around the fortress. Olivia's little nose twitches instantly at the scent, acting like she is totally unfazed by hunger, while her tail gives her away by doubling its frantic rhythm the second the aroma hits. Serafina sits there looking completely unfazed, projecting an aura of total culinary indifference. Heavy platters of hot roasted meat, alongside a steaming pot of herb soup, are hauled by me in the main hall, where the dual dragon queens remain locked in their epic staring contest, strung up high and low with glances cutting through the air like invisible blades. Everything gets arranged on the center table by my hands, before retreating 3 paces back, to morph myself into a low-profile human houseplant, keeping 0 eye contact and 0 hot takes, while completely steering clear of any gender war drama. Why on earth did you cook a portion for her too? Olivia eyes the dishes while trying hard not to drool. She is a guest, we are the hosts. It is just basic etiquette. I reply, fully backing up my fierce little black dragon. With delicate royal grace, Serafina tears off a small piece of rabbit, takes her time chewing, and pauses as her silver eyes soften up. After a clean swallow, she lets out a genuinely impressed sigh. Not gonna lie, this hits the spot before trying out the soup, and adding that it is solid too. The herbs completely wipe out any gamey aftertaste while warming up the chest, before she shifts her gaze to Olivia with a cheeky smirk. Seriously, babe, you hit the jackpot with this one. Stunning looks, lethal combat skills, elite brain, and top-tier cooking. Where on earth did you score such a flawless contract night? Because I want one. An icy shiver creeping down my spine spells out total doom. He is my personal dragon knight. Olivia's voice drips with heavy territorial vibes, so keep dreaming. You're never getting your hands on one, so just let it go. Serafina stirs her bowl of soup with total casualness. Relax, I was merely spitting facts. Looks, fighting prowess, and cooking are all major flexes. Is dropping a basic compliment outlawed around here? Complimenting him is fine, but spare us the laundry list of details. Oh, my bad. I'll keep it brief next time then. Your night's grub is actually edible. Happy now. Throwing a fit over this is totally unqueenly behavior. Olivia's mouth flies open ready to shoot back a sharp retort, before realizing that losing her cool instantly hands Seraphina the W. So she snaps her jaw shut hard, while her tail aggressively thrashes the stone floor in pure annoyance. Not a single decent comeback comes to her mind. My head stays firmly down into my soup as I embrace the see nothing, hear nothing, say nothing policy, until Seraphina sets her cup down and locks eyes with me. When did you and Olivia actually lock in your soul contract? Just a few days back, amidst the chaos of that battlefield, where 1,000 bloodthirsty hunters were swarming a defenseless dragon queen. Oh yeah, she observes me intently over her rim. Word on the street is you move like a main character, holding off the wave of pursuers solo, and buying her enough runway to escape. That takes absolute main character energy. That specific praise makes Olivia's head whip straight up, as her eyes dart between Seraphina and me in rapid succession, while mentally calculating the logistics of physically tossing this woman out the window, before remembering her current injuries leave her outmatched in a fight, resulting in her tail slamming the stone floor once in bitter defeat. It was honestly the only logical move to make right then, I mutter under my breath. The right move, you say? Seraphina sets her ceramic cup down with a soft click. A sharp, icy glint flashes deep within her silver eyes. Throwing your own body in front of someone inside a total death trap takes a whole lot more than basic guts, and managing to crack past the ironclad defenses of a dragon queen who trusts absolutely no one. Someone who is at her absolute peak of suspicion and total vulnerability, plus convincing her to link her soul with a mere human. She pauses, glancing over at me before lifting her gaze to Olivia with a growing grin. It appears you possess way more than just plain bravery. You've honestly got a sick talent for winning over a dragon's guarded heart. My stomach twists into knots, yet I keep my expression completely deadpan. What are you even getting at? Olivia cuts in with an icy tone from overhead. Oh, nothing malicious at all. Seraphina shrugs lazily. I am just genuinely curious because the ancient Dragon Knight contract has been totally extinct for over 3,000 years. Never in my life did I think I would witness one again. So I seriously need to know what on earth you did to charm the most guarded dragon queen alive into binding her soul to a random human like you. My mind races frantically, unable to come up with a safe reply to Seraphina. There is no way I can just say. I dropped to my knees and whispered sweet nothings until she caved, even though that is pretty much exactly what happened. Maybe I just got lucky showing up at the exact right spot. Dropping the right lines, I managed to mutter. Right place, right time, right lines? She echoes back, a playful smirk touching her lips. Now, that is a fascinating answer. She doesn't press the matter any further, though her calculating gaze says she's still running numbers. Trapped right between two terrifying dragon queens, I stare hard at my plate, praying this agonizing meal will just finish. Seraphina, however, decides to eat in agonizing slow motion, chewing every single bite a full 15 times, and blowing precisely 3 times on each spoonful of soup. She is deliberately dragging out every single second, and I can't even call her out on it. Then, she smoothly crosses her legs, and her foot casually brushes against my shin beneath the table. Light, deliberate, and as cold as midnight moonlight. I flinch violently, my spoon slamming into the porcelain bowl with a loud clink. Hot broth splashes across the wooden table. What on earth was that? Olivia's head whips up in an instant. I freeze solid for a half-second. Oh, nothing. The soup was just way too hot. She scrutinizes my facial expression, swiftly glances down at the spilled liquid, and finally settles back with a quiet, low oh. Across the table, Seraphina lifts her bowl directly to her lips, effectively hiding everything below her eyes, which are curved into absolute crescents of pure amusement. She doesn't utter a single word, because she honestly doesn't need to. I quietly drag my chair back 2 inches, clamping my legs tightly together to seal off any possible entry point underneath the dining table. She definitely pulled that off on purpose. Suddenly, system updates hit my brain like physical punches. Olivia's affection jumps up to 59, though the accompanying note mentions she has mentally constructed a massive secret, century-spanning love story between me and Seraphina. The system genuinely advises me to sleep with both eyes wide open tonight. Meanwhile, Seraphina's affection ticks up to 52, with her system notes stating that she is thoroughly thrilled by this high-stakes game of cat and mouse, and low-key flirting right in front of her rival. Makes the whole thing even more addictive. Good grief, These two are actually going to be the death of me. The agonizing afternoon drags on at snail's pace. As the sun finally shifts into a deep amber hue, Serafina rises to her feet and announces her departure. A massive wave of relief nearly drops me to the floor. Strolling toward the barrier, she pauses and looks back over her shoulder. A gleaming golden outline is painted across her profile by the setting sun. Her gaze locks onto mine across the hall. Thank you for the hospitality, Mr. Dragon Knight. I seriously had a blast today. Then her eyes dart over toward Olivia. Cherish your night, Olivia, in these dangerous times. Finding a human willing to die for you is literally 1 in a million. I don't need your fake concern, Olivia snaps back, while her tail whips around and cracks sharply against the stone floor. Serafina's attention drifts back to me for one final moment. I'm genuinely looking forward to our next get-together. She holds her breath for a split second, then adds with crystal-clear sarcasm, oh, I mean, mister. Feeling my spine instantly lock up, I know she totally figured it out. She definitely knows before Olivia can completely lose her temper. Serafina drops one last parting bomb. And stop hiding that wine on the second shelf. Third cabinet bottom, row next time I show up. I'm totally draining that bottle. Her eyes meet mine once more right after that, and all the playful teasing instantly evaporates. Dropping to a quiet, serious tone, she speaks up. Meant only for me, take care of those injuries of yours. Stepping through the barrier, she bursts into a brilliant silver flash and shoots straight up into the open sky until she completely vanishes behind the clouds. Total and utter silence fills the grand hall. All that built-up tension vanishing at once, I sink back into my chair and let out a breath that feels like the first one in hours. My head then pivots toward the throne. Olivia currently has her back turned to me. She is tightly curled into a miniature ball resting right on the paw of the dragon sculpture with her wings pinned close to her torso, their edges giving off a faint tremble. Dangling over the edge, her tail remains completely motionless. No swinging, no tapping, no curling, just frozen solid. She isn't even mad. She's genuinely heartbroken. At this point, I know every single one of her moods. Whenever she feels angry and jealous, her tail thrashes around and slams aggressively against the stone. Yet, right now, she is sitting completely still, which is honestly 10 times worse than plain anger. Stepping closer, while feeling totally clueless about what to say, I wait out the long silence. Her voice finally breaks through, sounding low and flat. Every single time she touched you, your heart started racing. My mouth opens up, but absolutely nothing comes out. Relying on the reflex reaction excuse has been heavily overdone today. She might be young in dragon years, but she certainly isn't dumb. She's a 4,000-year-old queen who gets to pick and choose when to call out my blatant lies. And when to let them slide, you don't need to explain yourself. She remarks as her tail gives a quick flick toward me before pulling right back. I know you didn't mean anything by it, but I seriously hate her touching you. I honestly hate it so much dropping down to match her eye level. I promise you that next time she tries getting close, I'm dodging out of the way instantly. She won't even get a chance to lay a finger on me. Seriously. Deep suspicion glimmers within her golden eyes. Seriously, what if she reaches out for your face instead? I'll lean out of the way, I swear, and take a quick step back. What if she, your majesty? I interrupt with a nervous laugh. If we sit here playing out every single scenario, we'll be up all night. The scales along her ears flush a bright red as she turns away. My concern isn't about you at all. Trust me. I just can't stand seeing that silver-haired hag low-key playing my dragon knight, your majesty. To save her some face, I smoothly pivot the conversation away. You know, ever since we linked our contracts, I've only laid eyes on your mini form and your combat form. Your human shape remains a total mystery to me. She completely freezes, her tail halting mid-swing, suspended awkwardly in the air for a full 2 seconds. Her voice jumps an octave, all traces of sadness instantly vanishing, completely replaced by pure, flustered panic. Just curious, honestly. Serafina is totally capable of taking human form. Since you're a dragon queen too, you've definitely got to have it. What you look like has honestly crossed my mind so many times. The scales on her ears shift from pink to deep crimson. Even the tiny gaps between her neck scales flush with sudden heat. You were literally just complaining about her trying to touch you. How do you transition subjects this terribly? Keeping a straight face, I reply that it's no random jump. My heart was beating out of my chest at lunch, solely because watching Serafina's human form in action had me low-key picturing what yours might be like. That exact thought is what the soul link picked up, I add as she stares at me, her tail locked in an S shape while she desperately tries to process my logic. That makes zero sense whatsoever, she finally manages to spit out. It's the absolute truth. I have to be completely out of my mind to believe that. Whipping her head away, her tail snaps sharply against the stone floor. Dragon human forms are strictly reserved for certain situations anyway. They aren't something you just show random people, you know? But we're bound by a life-and-death contract partnership. Just one peek and, oh, she opens. Her little mouth right up and blasts. Me dead on, with a puff of mini dragon breath. The heat is barely enough to warm up your fingertips, yet it hits me squarely across the face and leaves me completely covered in black soot. From my forehead all the way down to my chin, request denied. You absolute idiot of a knight, she snaps as I reach up to touch my face. Every single inch is coated in pure black ash. Staring at my blackened face for 2 solid seconds. She completely loses her composure. Bursting into laughter, she rolls around on her throne with her wings flapping. Her tail bouncing high, ditching all queenly dignity for pure, delighted girlish joy. Your face looks so ridiculous, haha. Wiping my cheek, I watch her laugh so uncontrollably hard. She's practically tumbling off the stone sculpture. Even though I look like an absolute clown right now. Seeing her this genuinely happy after the miserable day she's endured makes it completely worthwhile. Are you finished laughing yet, Your Majesty? Not yet, ha. Shaking my head, I head over to the hot spring to clean myself up. Her echoing laughter chases me all the way down the corridor. By the time I make my return, she's sitting upright again, looking calm and composed. Her eyes hold a soft and warm expression, with every last trace of jealousy completely washed away. Done laughing? She looks away with her tail tip curling upward. You're actually kind of fun to be around, you know? I seize the opening. So, would you ever consider showing me your human form? Absolutely not. Not even a tiny bit, no way. What if I bribe you with some roasted meat for it? Her tail freezes instantly. Her eyes shift sideways, as if she's running some heavy mental math in her head. After a brief pause, her voice loses its stubborn edge. How many meals are we talking about? My heart leaps, but I keep my cool. 10. No way, make it 20. She whips around with her eyes wide open. I'm literally a dragon, you absolute idiot knight. You can't just bribe a dragon queen with some cheap roasted meat. A heavier blast of draconic heat swells up inside a glowing throat, protecting my face with both hands. I brace for another wave, but she swallows it right down instead. With a crisp snap, her tail whips right across my forehead, while she launches off my shoulder and darts down the corridor, heading straight for the hot springs without dropping a single word. Rubbing my aching brow, I just stand there, totally clueless about what just went down. Her nose was glowing bright red as she took off. A 1,000-year-old queen who literally swallowed her own dragon breath slapped me across the face and bolted, completely failing to hide her blushing ears. She's low-key just a massive kid, isn't she? I sigh, completely giving up on trying to decode the Black Dragon Queen. Later that evening, I'm soaking in the private hot spring tucked behind a fortress, packed with legendary healing properties. The mineral water goes to work slowly on my old battle scars. Closing my eyes, I try to soak in the peace and quiet, until the soul link suddenly triggers. Olivia's voice cuts through, sounding super formal and commanding. Starting tomorrow, I am heading in a lockdown recovery. Down in the subterranean dragon source hall, I will recover from the canyon battle damage and get my strength back. During this period, I'm dialing down the soul link connection, so I won't be spying on your every little emotion. Hell yeah. No more heartbeat surveillance. This has got to be the absolute best news I've heard all week. Suddenly her tone shifts and that bossy edge totally melts away, swapped out for raw jealousy masked behind stubbornness. Also, while I am out of commission, you are strictly banned from seeing Seraphina, Your Majesty. When I say forbidden, I mean totally forbidden. Through our link, I can still track your general zone. So if you try to sneak off to Silver Moon Peak, the very first thing I'm doing when I return is roasting and eating you. And I won't even bother adding any seasoning. My meat tastes awful anyway. Shut up. Are you seriously thinking about going? Just remember, I'm not being extra about this. I honestly just hate the thought of her touching you, period. Understood? Understood. Good. I'm going to prep right now. So stay put inside the fortress. And don't wander off. The link goes dead silent. That constant, low background buzz of another soul's presence, acting like a mental nightlight, finally clicks off. The sudden quiet feels kind of surreal. Leaning back into the steaming water, I watch the vapor drift up toward the dark cave ceiling. Today's Double Dragon Queen Drama Marathon has finally come to an end. I have zero control over either of them anyway. I'm just a dragon knight, not a licensed couples counselor. One step at a time, while Olivia is locked away recovering. I'm going to hyper-focus on training and leveling up. As for Seraphina, I'll dodge her every chance I get. Miles away over on Silver Moon Peak, Seraphina stands all by herself on a windy cliff beneath the icy moon. Clutching her memory scale one last time, she watches the blurry boy from years past snap into sharp focus. Every single feature and expression is crystal clear now. I knew it was you all along. She whispers his real name for the very first time, finally connecting all the dots. Xiaoyan, or rather, Luo Yi. She has figured out the whole truth. The fake aliases, the disguise that disguise voice, and how well I know Dragon Customs are all pieces gathered from Olivia's chats. Those are fragments picked up from Olivia's conversations. And today's visit just locked it all in. Why switch up your name? Why throw on a mask? And why act like you don't recognize me? She pauses, asking, and why become Olivia's Dragon Knight? Instead of mine, silence is the only reply. Tucking away the scale, she strides toward her grand palace. Next time we cross paths, I'll force you to confess yourself. Right at the entrance. She halts, calling out to her silver dragon attendant. Dispatch a formal invite to Shire, and make sure it's delivered by someone who can completely conceal their presence. Under what pretense, Your Majesty? A brief thought crosses her mind, bringing a smile. Tell him I'm inviting him over for roasted meat. We've bagged a moonlight deer up on the mountain, and that meat totally slaps compared to rabbit. If he's down, he can show up. If he's not feeling it. Her silver eyes gleam with a lazy, dangerous vibe. Have the messenger drag him here by force. The attendant's tail goes rigid. Your Majesty, that doesn't sound very much like an invitation. How is it not? I invite him. If he ghosts, I send someone to escort him. That's totally courteous. Turning around, she vanishes into her palace, already low-key stoked for whatever goes down next. 3 days after Olivia retreats in a closed-door recovery, the fortress feels completely dead. There's no tiny black dragon sunbathing on the throne, and zero sarcastic remarks echoing through the soul link. Just dead silence. I sit on the main hall steps, twirling a magic core between my fingers while obsessing over a thought that's been bugging me for a hot minute. Is this world seriously just a game? Because if it is, why does Seraphina's stare give me the absolute creeps? Why does my heart pound like crazy whenever Olivia's tail brushes against my hand? Why do these NPCs feel way more genuine than anything in any actual game I've ever played? But if it's not a game, then what's the system UI hovering in my head? The stat counters, skill trees, and affection meters? I pull up the system menu to confront it directly. Is this reality or just a game? It fires back instantly. Brutally blunt as always. Duh, obviously it's a game. System HUD, stats, skills, and affection tracking are literally baseline features of a gamified universe. Why would I lie to you? Then why does everything feel so ridiculously real? Ultra HD, full immersion. That's the selling point. You picked this exact title because it promised max realism, remember? Staring at the glowing text, I stay silent for a long time. The system isn't wrong. That's literally why I started playing. Even so, I've been stuck in this realm for over 10 years. I grew up here, fought here, met breathing people, felt genuine emotions, and made actual choices. If this is just pixels and code, what does any of that even mean? The system tells me I'm overthinking the lore. Just vibe with the game, enjoy the storyline, and simp for the waifus. Since that's the intended meta, I let out a dry laugh. Fair point. I'm definitely overcomplicating things. And hey, if this is a game, then speedrunning an escape should be totally fine, right? That thought plants itself in my head and refuses to die. Still, Olivia has been good to me. Part of me honestly wonders if I could just kick it here for good. Yet I'm merely a player while she is just an NPC. Any genuine happily ever after is totally out of the question for us. Having already secured my Dragon Knight class, this whole questline is basically wrapped up. Now I'm completely stuck right between two rival dragon queens. Amidst a total mess, if I do not bounce immediately, Seraphina's next play is going to lock my location down for good. Olivia is currently recovering in secret, and Seraphina has not made her next move just yet. This right here is my golden window. Making up my mind, I stride confidently toward the exit, while feeling super light and carefree. Then I smash my face dead center into a totally invisible wall. Stumbling backward in a daze, I cut my throbbing, aching nose. There is nothing visible ahead, just empty space. Yet my palms refuse to push past it as I test every single exit. The main grand entrance, the side hallway, and that hidden tunnel tucked behind the mountain. Every last one of them is completely sealed by a sinister violet barrier. Olivia, seriously, she totally planned this whole thing out. Right before slipping into her deep healing state, she locked down the entire fortress tight, deep underground inside the shadowy dragon source hall, surrounded by swirling wisps of dark aura. A massive black dragon lies fast asleep, while her physical form slowly mends. Sensing something amiss, she lets out a muffled chuckle in her sleep. Stupid knight trying to run away, not gonna happen. Back up on the surface. I rub my sore nose and frantically scan for another escape route. Suddenly, a deep, raspy voice echoes from the shadows right behind me, sounding totally amused. "Where are you heading off to, mister Dragon Knight?" I spin around slowly, amidst the gloomy darkness beneath the stone arches. A pair of amber eyes glow fiercely like hot embers. A sleek black dragon emerges from the deep shadows. He is noticeably smaller than Olivia's true colossal form, yet he still completely towers over me, his armored body covered in dark scales and rippling muscles. A long, rugged scar slices downward from his right brow to his jawline, giving off a distinctly roguish vibe. "Name is Saltar," he announces while tilting his scarred head sideways, checking me up and down with absolute zero respect. A puff of smoke billows casually from his flared nostrils. "I'm a fortress gatekeeper." Before the queen retreated into her recovery chamber, she left one very specific instruction behind. "She mentioned you might try to—" He pauses mid-sentence, flashing half a grin filled with sharp white fangs. "Well, don't even think about running off." "I wasn't running away. I was just trying to catch some fresh air," I retort with a deadpan face. "Fresh air?" He circles around me slowly, his long tail swishing lazily. This entire fortress has folded spatial dimensions inside it, stretching as vast as a full capital city, and you need outside air? And getting fresh air apparently requires you to test every single exit? Do you take me for a complete idiot? I press my hands against the barrier once more, but it refuses to budge. Vibrant ripples spiderweb across its purple surface, mocking my futile effort as I turn to stare at Saltar, the black dragon sentry. He is sprawled across a stone ledge like an oversized, lazy cat, his tail dangling off the edge with amber eyes half-mast, clearly having the time of his life watching this circus. "Still trying to force your way through?" He hops down effortlessly, tapping the barrier with a sharp claw that rings out like a drum. "The queen cast this seal personally. What makes you think your bare hands can smash right through it?" "I was just testing it." "You tested it 15 damn times." Want to know what she told his guards? Before heading into recovery, she gathered every single one of us to lay down the law. Her exact words were. He clears his throat and imitates her proud, fierce tone. "If he steps 1 foot outside the barrier, once I come out, I'll roast him and the guards together." My mouth twitches, knowing that sounds exactly like her. I honestly don't want to be barbecue. Saltar shrugs his shoulders with his scales clinking. "So please stay put." I stare at the barrier for a few seconds, then change my approach, figuring I'm not trying to escape. I just want to go to the back mountain to hunt beasts, and train while staying safely inside the territory. That should be allowed, right? Saltar studies me, then lets out a low chuckle. The back mountain is technically within the territory barrier, so as long as you avoid trying to break through the outer wall, I can open the gate. Though he looks me up and down doubtfully. "You sure you can handle it?" Ever since the queen went into recovery, the beasts back there have gone completely wild, with whole packs of them roaming everywhere. "This small body carried your queen out of the Eternal Night Rift," I reply. That completely shuts him up as he blinks, tries to think of a comeback, and finally gives up while starting to walk. "Fine. Since you're feeling so confident, follow me." He leads me to a hidden passage, concealed behind an ordinary-looking stone wall, where his claw presses a small indent. Purple magic lines spread outward and the wall slides, open to reveal blazing sunlight and thick forest air. "Remember, the whole back mountain is inside the main barrier," he says, "so don't try anything clever. I won't run away. Anyway, because if I did, what do you think Olivia would do to me when she wakes up?" He laughs. "You really know yourself well." I step through as the sun hits my face hard. Before I can get far, Saltar calls after me, actually sounding concerned for once. "Be careful out there. If you get chewed up by a beast on my watch, the queen will pluck my scales off one by one when she returns. Relax. I'm not going to die," I call back without turning around. He watches me disappear into the forest, with his tail sweeping the ground slowly. Tough kid, he mutters to himself. I'd better tell the beast. Lord's back there to go easy on him. The back mountain serves as the most dangerous hunting ground across Alluvia's territory, filled with dense forests and constant beast fights, where roars and crashing trees echo from every direction. Today the beasts seem wilder than I've ever seen them. I follow a stream downhill and find a hidden ledge behind a massive tree. Crouching low, I instantly spot my target, an iron-spine rhino drinking at a muddy pool that is huge, 2 sizes bigger than the boar leader I killed previously, featuring a thick horn on its forehead built for devastating charges. The system tags it as a level 28 elite, earth type with armor resistance maxed out and weak points at the soft scales under its belly and the joint gap beneath its jaw. I am currently looting 2 levels below the Shadow Panther I just dropped, yet its heavily armored hide makes speedrunning this mob an absolute headache. The XP payout is cracked though. Surging through my veins, draconic power ignites a dark golden glow that crawls straight up my spear shaft to the very point. Grind time is officially here, and for 7 straight days I lock in to hunt the back mountain like an absolute machine. Day 1 kicks off with 17 boars and 12 wolves wiped out. To boost my stats from level 15 to 16, Day 2 sees me pulling an entire pack of level 25 rock lizards, before clearing them completely to hit level 17 by Day 5. A level 30 Shadow Panther gets soloed, with 0 dragon breath assistance from me, relying strictly on my raw spear mastery and mechanics to unlock level 18. My physique feels beefed up, my dragon energy streams way smoother, and my reflexes are dialed in, but it is still not enough. That next milestone is practically touching my fingertips. Just 1 more level will unlock a brand new skill for my kit, standing tall on the highest precipice, while gazing out across the endless gloom of the forest. To plot tomorrow's farming route, I notice a tiny silver dragon, stumbling through the air straight toward me. It is barely larger than a house cat, sporting translucent wings so thin you can see right through them, and navigating like a totally wasted bird. Somehow, it phases right past Alluvia's barrier, like the magical ward is non-existent, touching down right in front of me, to drop a silver-white letter right into my palm, before affectionately nudging my fingers with its snout. A distinct fragrance of moonlight flowers wafts off the envelope, written in exceptionally elegant cursive. Dear Mr. Dragon Knight, I just bagged a fresh moonlight deer up on Silver Moon Peak. The venison hits way different than basic rabbit. You are officially invited over for a barbecue feast. The campfire is already blazing. Sincerely, Seraphina. Folding the letter neatly in half, I give the mini dragon a light-hearted head shake. Tell your queen thanks, but I am way too busy grinding right now. Refusing to take the letter back, the little beast stares me down, opens its tiny jaws, and lets out a growl. That sounds roughly as intimidating as a sneezing kitten. It then begins thrashing its paws frantically with wings fluttering wildly, and tail flailing in every direction, putting on a hilarious session of desperate charades. After watching this comedy routine play out for a second, I finally decode the message. Attendance has been strictly mandated by the queen, meaning this is not optional. I chuckle. You're smaller than my kneecap. So how exactly do you plan on forcing me to come? Puffing itself up aggressively, the creature's body suddenly erupts in blinding silver light, transforming in mere seconds, from kitten-sized into a massive beast nearly 2 meters tall. Its powerful wings spread wide to catch the air, and with sharp, predatory eyes fixed on me, it flashes an unsettlingly human grin before I can even process a counterattack. It snaps its jaws onto the back of my collar, not tightly enough to puncture skin or rip the fabric, but just secure enough to hoist me straight up into the air like a mama cat. Carrying her cub, my dangling feet gaze down at the forest canopy, rapidly shrinking beneath us, while my eyes flick up to the powerful silver wings beating overhead. Your unique brand of silver dragon hospitality is something else. I'm muttering to my breath. Baring its teeth in amusement, the dragon accelerates into a faster cruise as we jet toward the moon-drenched mountain peak on the horizon. Far below us back at the fortress, Saltar remains dead to the world, fast asleep on his guard platform, with his tail casually dangling off the platform edge, totally knocked out, and dreaming about some grub, completely clueless that a silver dragon just rolled up into his turf and snatched away the exact person he was supposed to be babysitting, looms larger and larger right before my eyes as Silver Moon Peak approaches, until the pristine white jade steps begin to glow softly beneath our feet, and the majestic silver beast touches down, gently dropping me at the base of the massive staircase before stepping back. Standing there with my collar all crooked and my hair looking like a total disaster from the wind, I gaze up the endless steps. While waiting at the summit stands Seraphina, as the chilly night breeze dances through her silver robe and hair. With a slight tilt of her head, she looks down at me and flashes a smile, her bright silver eyes radiating a quiet, knowing amusement. Meanwhile, tucked away in the deep underground caverns far below, poor Olivia remains fast asleep, completely wrapped in her healing slumber and entirely oblivious to the chaos. "Welcome to Silver Moon Peak, Mr. Dragon Knight," greeted Seraphina from the top of the grand stairway, her silver garments rippling in the gusty wind, giving off the vibe that the literal moon had just stepped into human form. As I hastily straighten my messed-up collar and smooth down my chaotic hair, I call out, "Is this how silver dragons typically invite their visitors over? Or is this VIP treatment exclusively for me?" With a subtle grin, she tilts her head sideways and replies, "Well, that totally depends on the visitor. For the ones who show up on their own terms, I use good manners. But for anyone who might try to ghost, I dispatch a personal escort before guiding me through the stunning palace halls, where the floor is made of polished white jade and the ceiling is completely clear, letting real starlight pour down, making it feel like strolling right across a river of stars, bringing us right to an open cliffside terrace at the very end, where an entire moonlight deer sizzles away on a glowing silver grill, sending rich, sweet-smelling plumes of smoke drifting through the air. Though let's be real, free food isn't the reason I'm standing here. Did you seriously go through all this crazy trouble just to host a dinner? I demanded point blank, causing her smile to vanish as she strode straight toward me, her silver eyes locking onto mine with a fierce intensity I've never witnessed in her before. "There's a burning question I need you to answer for me tonight," she stated, stepping closer. "You've been low-key dodging me this whole time. Or am I tripping? I haven't been ducking you at all." "Oh, really? You literally covered your face, faked a throat issue, went by an alias, and kept your distance every single second I was anywhere near you. Okay, fair enough. That's not exactly avoiding someone." She closed the distance again, close enough that I could catch the scent of moonlight blossoms and sweet fruit wine. With her silver locks softly brushing against my hand in the breeze, "Xiao Yin," she whispered gently, using my old undercover name. "Did you seriously think swapping names was going to pull the wool over my eyes?" I froze, knowing full well this reckoning was coming, though I honestly didn't expect it to hit this fast. "Just when exactly did you figure it out?" I inquired. "Right from our first encounter down in the valley," she replied matter-of-factly, without a hint of ego. "Sure, your disguise was solid and your voice acting was on point, but you always shift your weight onto your left foot whenever you stand still, and you tend to squint your left eye for a split second before making eye contact. Tells that never change, you know." I let out a bitter laugh, completely unaware I even did those things. So my entire elaborate disguise was completely useless? Not useless at all. It actually worked surprisingly well. She stepped even closer this time, close enough for me to literally count her eyelashes. "Considering you managed to infiltrate the Black Dragon Fortress, and somehow went over Olivia, that arrogant little dragon, who actually went ahead and bound her soul to yours." Her voice carries a vibe I can't quite put my finger on, which feels less like actual jealousy and more like pure low-key frustration. "I never understood it," she says, locking her gaze directly onto mine, and refusing to let me look away. "Years ago, you solo-climbed Silver Moon Peak, just to ask to become my official Dragon Knight. When I said I needed some time to think, you totally vanished that exact same night and never came back. Then, years later, you blindly charged into a hopeless battle, threw your body right in front of Olivia, and locked in a life-and-death contract with her, in a wasteland where survival was practically impossible. So I'm hitting you with one honest question right now. Why her and not me? I can't possibly tell her the real reason, because back then you were way too hard to unlock, and failing to trigger that Dragon Knight class, with you standing right there, would have got me spawn-camped before I could even finish my sentence. The timing was just different. I managed. Timing. She echoes the word back slowly, then lets out a dry laugh tinged with self-mockery. So the timing was completely wrong for me, but somehow perfect for her? Something like that. Then what if I told you? She suddenly steps forward until her nose is almost touching mine, her warm breath gently brushing against my lips, while a rich mix of moonlight fragrance and fruit wine floods my senses. That my timing has finally arrived? My heart immediately slams against my ribs like crazy, slowly raising her right hand. Cool and slender fingers press flat right against my chest, hovering right over my pounding heart. She can clearly feel every wild, totally uncontrollable beat. Your heartbeat has already given away literally everything. She whispers, "You were never truly indifferent to me, were you?" I stay dead silent, because she's completely right. Every single time she has touched me in the past, my body has physically reacted before my brain could even stop it. My traitorous heart has been playing for the other team from the start. Her fingertip traces slowly upward from my chest, gliding along the side of my neck before resting right under my chin. She gently tilts my face down toward her own, rising slightly on her tiptoes. Her silver hair spills gracefully over her shoulders, lightly brushing against my arms. Her slender, pale neck remains completely exposed in the dim light. We are standing so close together now that I can actually see the tiny stars reflecting deep inside her eyes. Every single internal alarm in my head is screaming at me to shove her away, take a step back, and keep my distance. Yet my body refuses to cooperate. I'm completely frozen, slowly closing her eyes. Her long lashes tremble delicately like fragile butterfly wings as she tilts her head and leans toward my lips. That sweet scent of moonlight and wine swallows everything whole. Her mouth is hovering barely an inch away from mine, causing my brain to completely short-circuit. Wait, is she actually about to kiss me right now? This is totally not how RPG mechanics are supposed to work. If this goes any further and Olivia somehow finds out, my affection score won't just tank down to 0. It'll drop straight into the negative zone, and she'll literally light up the entire mountain range with dragon fire aimed right at my face. Just as that chaotic thought flashes through my mind, Serafina suddenly stops. Her lips remain hovering less than an inch from mine, before she finally opens her eyes, which look crystal clear, devoid of even a trace of being caught up in the moment, flashing that familiar cat playing with a mouse smile. A teasing grin washes over her face as she whispers, "Do you seriously not want this?" Suddenly, something inside me snaps. For 3 full days, every single moment between us has been controlled by her. The casual hand touch that sent my heart racing, the clever foot brush under the table, and now a fake almost kiss that totally scrambled my brains. She has been totally leading this dance, while I've just been stumbling behind her like a total noob. I am an OG veteran player here. I've already cleared multiple complex storylines. There's no way I'm letting some dragon queen boss me around forever. Besides, the system explicitly stated this as a game, and my hidden class, the Holy Dragon Knight, is still locked on my panel. Maybe this crazy move is how I finally trigger it, and I make up my mind. Reaching out, I grab her waist and lean in to kiss her. My body locks up instantly as her hand firmly plants itself on my chest, feeling gentle yet completely immovable. Clearly, she was ready for this. Oh man, she just laughed softly. "What exactly are you trying to pull, Mr. Dragon Knight? You told me to do it. I asked if you actually wanted to. I never told you to actually act on it." Her face puts on the absolute picture of innocence, and I honestly want to strangle her. So the whole thing was literally just her toying with me. Every single second, she steps back with her arms crossed, looking thoroughly entertained by my misery. Besides, if my memory serves me right, a Dragon Knight contract is an unbreakable soul bond. One night, one dragon. You're already legally bound to Olivia. If you had actually kissed me just now, what would that even make you? Just cheating behind your partner's back. My face twitches in annoyance. Could you possibly pick a nicer way to phrase that? What would you prefer? Engaging in romantic ambiguity with another dragon queen, while contractually tied down to the first one. That is literally just cheating with extra steps. I take a deep, steadying breath, knowing full well this is my only chance to take back control. If I do not come clean and tell her the truth now, she will hold this over my head forever. What if I told you? I say, forcing my voice to remain steady, that I can actually form contracts with multiple dragons? She instantly freezes. For the very first time, genuine surprise flashes across her face. What did you just say? I am totally different from other knights. My soul can support multiple dragon bonds at the same time. She falls quiet for a brief moment, and then a smile breaks out, not mocking, not disbelieving, but carrying that specific look of, well, you just got a whole lot more interesting. Prove it, she challenges. Talk is cheap, so you can test it out yourself right now. Before I can even finish, she raises her hand. No need for lengthy explanations. I have a much more direct method. A glowing orb of silver-white light materializes in her palm, spinning rapidly, and expanding outward into an elaborate contract array. Intricate silver lines weave together into layers of complex geometric patterns, featuring a majestic dragon symbol right at the center. The bright radiance bathes everything around us in a pale, ethereal silver glow. This is the silver dragon contract array, she explains, her voice calm on the surface, but laced with underlying seriousness. If you are actually telling the truth, it will seamlessly coexist with your existing bond. However, if you are lying, it will instantly trigger a massive backlash from Olivia's contract. It won't actually kill you, but you will be completely bettered in for months. Cold sweat instantly starts running down my back. Without missing a beat, she slides the glowing array right toward me. Cool silver radiance tracing razor-sharp patterns across her striking features, whispering, "Do you dare?" Locking my eyes on the humming array for 3 intense seconds. 02:38:40:033. 02:42:00000. I just flash a confident grin, thinking, why would I pass this up? Reaching my hand out forward, I press my open palm firmly against the silver contract array. The exact microsecond my skin makes contact, a massive wave of silver light violently erupts outward, drenching the entire open terrace in blindingly bright illumination while a chilling, unfiltered surge of raw power races up my arm and floods my core. It violently smashes right into Olivia's dark shadow, energy that was already resting deep inside my system, gritting my teeth hard as heavy beads of sweat roll down my face. The two opposing forces clash fiercely for one terrifying moment, before something totally mind-blowing takes place, cleanly splitting my internal soul space right down the middle, like a pair of rival kings dividing up a conquered territory, dark golden shadow. Energy claims the entire left side of my physique, while piercing silver moonlight energy instantly anchors on the right where they meet dead center. They smoothly slide past one another without throwing any punches. The game interface completely freaks out with non-stop system notifications, flashing contract conflict detected, running compatibility test, and finally judgment passed, signaling both powers can coexist and contract established successfully. Holy crap, I actually pulled it off as I instantly rocket from level 18 straight to 20, watching all my core stats skyrocket. Strength, speed, endurance, magic, literally everything. Surging forward with a massive 500% stacked contract bonus buff, unlocking a totally fresh class path known as Holy Dragon Knight loaded, with an entirely brand new skill tree, featuring ethereal holy wings for high-speed flight, a lethal light element spear strike, a glowing moonlight barrier shield, and an upgraded high-tier soul resonance, capable of syncing with both dragon queens at the exact same time. I can vividly feel both magical forces coursing through my veins in absolute, flawless harmony. Shadow elements echoing the pitch-black abyss of a midnight sky, and silver elements gleaming like freezing moonlight, merging together to forge a supreme equilibrium I have never experienced before in my life. This completely validates everything, proving the system is real, the stats are real, and the active skills are entirely real. This whole universe is genuinely a massive video game, and since this is basically my playground, I'm going to grind it out to the absolute maximum level, full completion, every single hidden storyline, and every epic boss lady on my radar. Here I come, baby. While I am throwing an inner celebration party, Seraphina is standing completely frozen in sheer disbelief. Her striking silver eyes blown wide open and her lips slightly parted in awe, wearing a stunned expression that I have literally never witnessed on her face before today. You actually managed to form a bond with more than one dragon at once. Her voice trembling slightly as I flash a smug, cocky grin. Telling you the truth, I told you I wasn't bluffing. Locking her intense gaze onto me for a long, quiet stretch, she looks at me like she is laying eyes on a total stranger for the first time, before finally breaking into a smile, shelving her usual calculated, scheming smirk in favor of an authentic, delighted grin resembling a master hunter who somehow just captured the rarest mythical beast in existence. Fascinating, she murmurs softly under her breath. You happen to be the sole human across this entire realm holding active, binding contracts with two rival dragon queens simultaneously. meaning you're truly one of a kind. Right after that, her expression shifts into a wicked, playful smirk. Though there happens to be one tiny little complication that you completely glossed over, considering high-level dragon contracts are absolute life-or-death pacts. Since you are tethered to both myself and Olivia at the hip, tell me what happens if we ever end up at each other's throats. Will you literally get torn clean in half? All the warmth completely drains out of my face. Should those two ever go head-to-head in an all-out brawl, the brutal contract backlash would straight-up wipe me out. Noticing my sudden paleness, she lets out a breezy chuckle. Chill out, I'm not looking to fight her. Her tone turns lazy and pleased. I'm just sitting here wondering, what kind of look Olivia is going to make once she finally steps out of recovery and finds out about this, closing the gap between us, while brushing her fingertips softly against my cheek. Have you any idea how long I've been waiting for you to give me this answer before I can even reply? She rises up on her tiptoes and presses her lips gently against mine. The kiss feels feather-light and soft, carrying a faint taste of moonlight blossoms, akin to a piece of the actual moon landing right on my mouth. The system freaks out as her affection level spikes from 52 straight to 60. The notification points out that years of pent-up frustration, along with today's sweet victory, have finally collided, meaning she has decided to never ever give me a chance to slip away again. My body locks up, completely frozen, while my mind goes totally blank. She takes a step back, licks her lips, and gives an approving nod. Hum. Not half bad. I just stare right back at her, still entirely unable to move or think. Observing my stunned expression, she lets out a bright laugh. What's her deal? Just a second ago you were trying to plant one on me. Now that I beat you to the punch, your brain's totally short-circuited. I suddenly snap back to reality. Aren't you even a little stressed that Olivia is going to find out? Serafina flashes a smirk, pressing a single finger right against the space between my eyebrows. A cool, shimmering silver light seeps directly into my skin, wrapping around our soul link like a thin, protective veil. She's buried deep underground, locked away in isolation recovery, with all her senses pulled entirely inward. There's no way she can pick up on your emotions right now. And with my special moonlight shielding spell running on top of that, even if your heart is literally pounding right out of your chest, she won't sense a single thing, leaving me completely speechless. This woman has genuinely mapped out every single move in advance. Noticing the trapped and helpless look plastered across my face, she laughs in absolute triumph. Getting spooked now, as she steps closer, I instinctively back away, until my lower back bumps hard against the stone terrace railing. With nowhere left to retreat, she leans right into my space, planting both hands firmly on the railing on either side of me, effectively caging me right between her arms. Her flowing silver hair cascades down past her shoulders, grazing softly against my face and neck, and carrying that signature crisp, sweet aroma of moonlight flowers. Her luminous silver eyes lock onto mine, sparkling with pure mischief. You were acting awfully bold just a moment ago, all fired up to grab and kiss me. Yet now that I've actually got you cornered, you've suddenly turned all shy. She's totally right. Ever since our very first encounter out in that mountain valley, she's been holding all the cards, easily seeing through every disguise, reading my every emotion, and using every touch to completely throw me off balance, before finally reeling me in to sign that second contract. 3 solid days of being played like her little puppet. And right now, after kissing me, she actually stepped back and licked her lips like I was just some sweet little dessert she had finished sampling or some casual afternoon entertainment. No way in hell. I'm a player here, and I've still got my pride. Something fundamental shifts deep inside me as I lift my gaze, letting slip for the very first time a look that is sharp, dangerous, and unapologetic. Your Majesty, I murmur, letting my voice drop low into a quiet warning, abandoning any trace of my usual softness. A deep and authoritative register takes over my voice, revealing an unfamiliar side of me to her eyes. You said the taste was not bad. A fleeting shock flashes across her silver irises for a second, before her playful vibe bounces right back. We'll want your kiss back. Instead of backing away, I step right up to her with a hard no. Our breathing mixes as our noses practically brush together. I just feel like, given how our contract operates as a mutual soul bond, power and intimacy ought to flow both directions too. Her teasing expression melts as her eyes widen slightly. She can genuinely feel this sudden shift in my vibe. No longer am I the helpless prey running from the predator. Instead, I have become someone, ready to stare down the hunter head-on. She parts her lips to drop some witty comeback and snatch back control, but she completely misses her window. My arm instantly wraps around her waist, yanking her against me hard to seal our lips in a kiss. This is nothing like the soft, featherlight brush she gave me this time. It is dead-ass real. Forceful, scorching, and completely unapologetic. Every ounce of frustration from 3 days of being messed with, combined with all this fierce, competitive drive, is poured entirely into this single moment. Her back slams gently against the stone railing, and she tries to squirm away while my arm locks her in place. Her silver eyes dilate in total shock. For the very first time since we met, the legendary 5,000-year-old silver dragon queen has zero clue how to handle this situation in 5 millennia. No living soul has ever dared pull a stunt like this. She has watched entire empires rise and crumble to dust, facing down countless threats while always maintaining control. Yet right now her brilliant mind goes completely blank. This narrative was definitely not supposed to unfold this way. She was always the master strategist, pulling all the strings, teasing and directing. How did she end up pinned and kissed, completely breathless in someone's arms? She instinctively tries to push me back, with her palms pressing hard against my chest to muster force. Yet the moment her hands feel my heartbeat steady and powerful, all that resistance just dissolves. She can no longer push, nor does she even want to, as I deepen our kiss further, channeling all the mounting irritation built from 3 days of playing her puppet. My hand slides down along her waistline, tracing every curve right through her thin silver gown, before slowly climbing back up her spine, until my fingers rest gently at the nape of her neck. Her steady breathing completely falls apart. Her hands stop pushing and tightly clutch my shirt instead. Her fingers are trembling while her silver eyes, ordinarily so cool and knowing, are blown wide open with genuine panic. 5 millennia of flawless composure are completely shattered. Then my fingers drift even higher, weaving right through her silky silver strands, until they locate what I am searching for: 2 tiny, delicate silver horns hidden deep within her hair. Actual dragon horns, representing the most forbidden and hypersensitive zone of any dragon, strikingly similar to Alluvius. I lightly brush my fingertip along the curve of one horn, causing a muffled gasp sound to escape her throat before she aggressively bites it back. Her entire body shudders as if a jolt of raw electricity just surged through every nerve, leaving her silver eyes wide with shock, while every trace of her pride and playfulness vanishes, suddenly swept aside by raw shock, replaced completely by a weird, fiery vibe totally foreign to dragon traditions. Reaching out to graze someone's horns stands as the ultimate low-key intimate flex, where only the absolute inner circle favorite gets that VIP pass. Before her brain can even process the glitch happening, a tidal wave of pure sensation crashes through her entire frame. Her knees give way completely as she nearly crashes down. LUOY. A piercing scream rips right through the silent palace halls. A massive, blinding shockwave of silver magic bursts forth, straight out from her core, blasting me completely off my feet, while I go flying backward through thin air, to smash hard against the cold moonstone railing. My spine throbs from the brutal hit as the system goes totally wild. Her affection score rockets straight from 60, up to 75, 85, and 101 massive spike. Maximum bond unlocked, baby. The system throws up red flags warning me she is totally unstable and might flip out into her full dragon form to launch an attack. It screams at me to chill her out fast, so I rub my aching lower back against the frosty metal bars and look right at her. I honestly cannot help grinning, because the mighty silver dragon queen is an absolute hot mess. Her gorgeous silver hair is totally tangled up and plastered across her flushed cheeks. A deep crimson flush spreads from her cheeks all the way to her ears, and down her neck, with both hands clamped tightly over her horns, while her fingers shake and her famously cold, all-seeing silver eyes are now flooded with total panic and absolute awkwardness, plus a watery glaze she is low-key trying hard to mask, while deep beneath all that exterior defense lies a truth she will never, ever admit out loud. She totally loved it. You, how dare you? Her voice shakes with rage. 5,000 years of flawless composure completely shattered to pieces. I stare at her, once an untouchable queen, now totally flustered and trembling, feeling a deep, deeply satisfying wave of victory washing over me. Finally, after spending 3 whole days playing her helpless mouse, the tables have completely turned on her. Oh, I arch a single eyebrow, keeping my tone light and teasing. Your Majesty, judging purely by your explosive reaction, it looks like you are totally clueless when it comes to this kind of vibe. Her silver eyes pop wide open with pure, unfiltered fury, shocked that a 5 millennia-old dragon queen is getting flustered by some human barely 20 years old. She forces herself to pull it together, takes several deep breaths to reset, and snaps back with absolute icy poise. Oh please, you're no better. Judging by how totally clumsy you were back there. Are you perhaps an absolute rookie at this too? My cocky grin instantly freezes. Did you really have to call me out like that? She suddenly bursts out laughing, crystal clear and bright, as all her previous panic washes completely away. She knows she landed a clean, direct hit, and she owns it. We're totally even now. Shy now. She tilts her head slightly, that playful cat and mouse spark flashing right back in her eyes. You were acting so bold a second ago, so what happened to that energy? I shut my eyes tight, take a deep breath, and pull a totally unexpected card. By pushing the soul resonance link between us straight to max power. 100% synchronization unlocked, leaving 0 barriers, no masks, and no hiding places. She can literally feel every single emotion pulsing through me, while I feel every wave crashing through her as her eyes blow wide open. She totally never saw this wild counterattack coming, since a full-blown soul sync cuts way deeper than any physical touch. It is essentially 2 souls, standing completely exposed and stripped bare right before each other, locking my gaze straight into hers as I flutter my eyes open. Any trace of my playful smirk totally vanishes, leaving nothing but raw truth since you call me shy. So let us tear down every single guardrail and keep it completely real with one another. Bending down, I press another deep kiss to her lips, and this time she puts up 0 resistance, as that soul link channels every single emotion I experience right into her, while every wave of her feeling hits me back, doubling every wild sensation, bouncing straight through our mystical bond, magnified way past anything either of us could have ever pictured. Her final shred of icy composure completely shatters, while her hands scramble up to lock tightly around my shoulders, her fingers trembling as 5 millennia of crushing loneliness just melt away in this one intense second. The moment she finally breaks away, she looks like a totally different human compared to that poised, regal queen who first met me up at the top of the stairs. With messy silver hair, burning crimson cheeks, dazed soft eyes, and flushed lips, she attempts to speak out loud, though no sound escapes. Her voice totally gone before she suddenly grabs my collar, jerking me forward toward her with sudden, abrupt force, and breathes out in a raw, fiercely determined whisper that you're not going anywhere tonight, as a radiant flash of silver light wraps securely around both of us.